Is it on? I love Carmel!
It's going. He is going. He is for the touchdown.
Good evening and welcome to Carmel Stadium. On the sideline with you, I am Boudouris, joined alongside my partner and good friend, Josh Melby. Josh, how's it going?
It's going great. No, I'm excited for a good game. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, the temperature is falling. That means it's time for fall, and that means it's time for football. And everybody here is excited for some football here at Week 3.
That's right. No, I think we have a good matchup here tonight. I know that because both these teams had a couple tough losses last week, both against very good teams. Carmel did fall short 55-28 against the King Crusaders compared to the King losing 44-8 last week. So both these teams are looking for a win, aren't they, Noah?
Yeah, both these teams very strong, but facing even better teams and starting to fall short. So they're going to hope to bounce back. Carmel looking to go 2-1. King just trying to get to 500, trying to get to 1-1. This season's very young. A lot of time to bounce back, a lot of time to show improvement. So that's what they're going to try to do tonight.
Most definitely, Noah. And I think some important factors for tonight.
And now, help us honor America while the band.
Season against one of the weaker defenses that they're going to see, giving up 44 points last week. This is a defense to attack at.
Yeah, it is worth noting that Carmel did double their point total going from week 1 to week 2, 14 points in week 1, 28 in week 2. So showing improvement. Defense is still steadily, being the same defense, and so if they can keep showing that improvement week to week, we're going to see a lot of improvement for the Hounds.
And I think one way we can see some improvement today is if they let sophomore quarterback Anthony Coyer do his thing. It seems like he performs best when he's more comfortable in his own shoes. You see a lot of handoffs, back-to-back handoffs, not letting Coyer do his thing. I do not think that is the best offensive game plan for the Greyhounds. We saw a 35-point run for Coyer in the second half last week. That's when he starts to get a little bit more comfortable in that game. He overall performs best when they let him do his thing.
Yeah, a lot of youth in this Carmel team, a lot of sophomores and juniors, so part of that aspect of this season and moving on for the future is just getting guys comfortable, guys finding their rhythm and finding their footwork and just really getting comfy with this Carmel team.
And that is most definitely true. I do think something worth noting on the defensive side of things, we have a very strong defense at this Greyhounds football program. They did struggle a little bit last week, but back in their groove today because they will need to beat this King football team.
Yeah, the ceiling for this Carmel defense has always been high. We knew that going into week 1. And so far they've forced 4 turnovers in just 2 games. So they can just keep that going, keep the ball rolling there. We're going to see a lot of turnovers here for the rest of the season.
A notable defensive adjustment today, Noah, is there was a position switch for Dominic getting switched from safety to cornerback, and he will be starting alongside Christian Peterson and Jabril Randolph. He's definitely in good company in that cornerback position.
Yeah, definitely. Well, some keys to tonight's game for you, Josh.
Yes, let's go over the key factors for tonight.
Yeah, well, first off, it's just keep producing turnovers. Like we said, if you're the defense, you've got to keep the ball out of King's hands. You've got to keep your offense on the field as opposed to theirs. So keep producing turnovers.
They've been most definitely impressive so far this year. 4 turnovers through 2 games is outstanding. Hopefully they can keep it up tonight. That will be crucial for tonight's game.
Well, second key is almost the opposite. Hold on to the football. 5 fumbles in just 2 games for Carmel. So they got to hold on to it. They got to keep their hands on the ball. Otherwise, we're going to see a lot of turnovers for both sides.
I do most definitely think that the skill positions offensively are going to need to have a great game. Coyer has to hold on to that ball when he's running. We saw him have 6 carries last week, fumbled 1 of them. We need him to hold on to the ball alongside our running backs. Hopefully, we have some guys returning tonight. They overall need to have better ball control, Noah.
Yeah, well, speaking of running backs, Tucker had that fumble early in last week. But that's one of the positives we've seen from Carmel so far this year is the very strong run game. 3 different running backs with some good positive yards. Johnson has 77, Knudsen has 75, and Tucker with 35 so far in just 2 weeks.
And I think we expect all of them to have another great game here tonight. We have been handing the ball off an awful lot lately. We're hoping we can see Coyer do his thing as well. If we can find the sweet spot for the running backs to the passing game, I think we're going to be looking great tonight, Noah.
Well, that brings up our third key to the game, and that's for Coyer to just get comfy. We saw him a little bit stiff, a little immobile in the pocket last week, and eventually he broke loose. He started to run a little bit, and when he did that, he was very explosive, getting a lot of yards for the Hounds. So if he can just keep doing that, get more comfortable in the pocket and moving out of the pocket, we're going to see a lot more production from him.
You can definitely tell he's comfortable. He's a little bit more mobile, moving inside and outside of the pocket, taking it past line of scrimmage himself. He averaged 9.8 yards a carry through 9 carries last week. That is very impressive numbers for such a young quarterback. That's how you know he's comfortable. We're going to need to see that tonight.
Well, Josh, it's time for the bad news. Let's talk about injuries.
And the funny thing about that, though, is I think we have a little bit more good news on this injury report than we do bad news.
Tell me more.
Hunter Snow, to start with the bad news, starting safety Hunter Snow will be out with a knee injury. We're super bummed. He's been a great key component for this Greyhounds team. Noah, let's start us with the good news today.
Yeah, well, Eugenio Jota is also got hurt last week. That was one of the bigger ones. He is probable tonight. We saw him skipping around the hallways today, so I think he'll be good to go.
That was also another knee injury, but we are pretty sure he's good to go. He is probable for tonight. And another player that is probable that we have not seen all year is starting running back Elijah Al-Fayed. Probable with a terrible hamstring injury. He had a very speedy recovery, and he should be playing tonight. He will split carries with Colin Johnson, Brady Knudsen, and Craig Kepler. He will be taking majority of those carries, especially even coming off injury. I think he will.
Yeah, we talked about that strong run game from Carmel. Adding Al-Fayed will just really add to that, really just solidify this as a strong run offense. Last probable is Nate Rogers. He's coming back. He had some arm dislocation issues, but he is probable for tonight. So a lot of new pieces to this Carmel team, really hoping to make some difference tonight.
I think 2 very crucial pieces as well, Noah. And one thing worth noting is that Colin Johnson was dealing with a back injury and will be playing his first game out of his back brace tonight. So I think we can expect a whole different type of Colin Johnson tonight, even better so than his last few games.
I don't know about you, I run way better without a back brace on.
Most definitely, Noah. I think this is going to be a little bit more comfortable for him tonight. And one other thing I want to worth note is the Greyhounds do have something to play for. It is Future Greyhound Night here at Carmel Stadium. The Future Greyhounds, it's the junior program for the Greyhounds football, led and ran by Chris Preston.
Well, that's all from us. Let's send it up to Casey and Dashaun in the booth after this quick message.
Hello and welcome inside the booth. I'm Casey Stevens. Alongside me is my good friend and color commentator tonight, Dashaun Barnes.
Good evening, Casey. How are you feeling tonight?
You know, Dashaun, it's going to be a great night for some football. Not as hot as a week ago, as the Greyhounds just 1 week ago took a 28-55 loss to an out-of-state team in the Christian Brothers Cadets. As also, on the other side of the ball, Martin Luther King High School out of Detroit took also a 44-8 loss to St. Xavier out of Cincinnati, Ohio. So both teams coming into this game with a 1-1 record on the other side for the Greyhounds, and for the Martin Luther King Crusaders, an 0-1 record. So both teams are looking to put a win in the column tonight.
Yeah, and just like you said, Casey, both of these teams took some tough losses last week, but what I will say for both teams, the score doesn't speak exactly what happened. For Carmel, they're playing a really tough team. The Cadets are a really strong team. Last year, they went 13-1, and the one team they lost to was also ranked nationally. So, and also the Cadets had a late scoring touchdown. It was a very hot, turnover-heavy game. So for the result, I think the Greyhounds were happy that it ended like that. Not a complete blowout. They were able to start getting the ball moving. Offense looked a lot better. For King, they were also facing a very tough team, and the rankings took to that well. They only went down 2 rankings from 10th in Michigan to 12th. So this is definitely not a team to laugh at.
And like you said, not a team to laugh at, as just 2 years ago, these two teams played. While the Greyhounds did come out on top, it was a last-minute Hail Mary to win the game. But for the Greyhounds, they are getting 2 key pieces to the offense back, and their slot wide receiver, Nathan Rogers, who has been out for the past 2 games, and their running back, Elijah Al-Fayed, who just a year ago as a junior led the team in rushing yards. So those 2 are going to be key factors tonight, and it's going to be looking for the connection. If Rogers is able to connect with the quarterback, just a sophomore, Anthony Colner, that connection is going to be a hard one to break.
Very true, Casey. I'm very excited to see what this Carmel offense can bring, especially because just last week they're starting to get the momentum and they're starting to click, and it looks like we are now just seconds away from kickoff, and I'm ready for a great day of football.
Like you said, a great day of football. The weather has been perfect, just in the mid-70s, as Plauschek for the Greyhounds is going to be out there to get the first kickoff of the game started. This is going to be a one good game to watch. It's going to be a revenge game for King if they are able to combat a strong offense and a strong defense of the Greyhounds.
Very true, Casey.
Plauschek lines up for the kick here. Waits for the call from the referee. Whistle blows. And the game is underway. As it's going to be a touchback, fair catch. So the Crusaders are going to be out on offense first, and the defense for the Greyhounds, led by Addy Bryant and Christian Peterson, going to be a strong game for those two if they are able to wreak havoc tonight.
Very true, Casey. Let's also talk about the mix-up for the secondary here for Carmel. We're losing Hunter Snow, but we're also getting back Dominic Shockley returning from injury. He's leading the team for interceptions, tied with Christian Peterson, who had the game-winning pick six against Homestead.
And this is going to be one strong young team for the Crusaders tonight, with just a sophomore starting at quarterback in Nate Edwards, as it's going to be Wildcat formation. And just like that, the Greyhounds are going to be able to swallow up and only allow a 1-yard game for the Crusaders.
What a great way to start for the Greyhounds. You know, just as I said, their defense is looking a little bit shaken up today, but just to get that first quick stop, that's going to make them feel great about themselves and get the crowd on their side.
As this is going to be, this Crusaders team likes to throw their ball. They're not much of a running team. They could not get the run going much or the pass last week, but throwing 12 passes and running the ball just above that 19 total carries a week ago. So a lot of passing and running for this team, as it's going to be a play action pass over. And once again, Addy Bryant is going to be able to take down to Damon Steins, is going to be taken down by Addy Bryant. And it's just going to be a short gain for the Crusaders. So it's going to be a third down now, 3rd and 6 for the Crusaders.
Yeah, and just as you said, Casey, even though it looks like their offense was working really well through the pass, they had 5 pass completions, and one of them took up over half of their passing yards. A 54-yard catch out of only 78 yards in their last game.
And that's the thing to look at. If the Greyhounds are able to lock down with their cornerbacks and not allow any over-the-top throws, they are going to have control. As just like that, it's going to be a short gain, and it's going to be a 4th down. So the Greyhounds are going to be able to lock up, as just a week ago against Christian Brothers, they were barely able to really force the Cadets into a 4th down at all during that game.
And it looks like the punt team is coming on. So it's going to be a 3-and-out for King here, and that is
punt team is going to come on, it looks like.
They are going to punt. What a great stop for Carmel, and here is Nathan Rogers in the backfield to take the kick.
And that's an exciting thing to see. Nathan Rogers for the Greyhounds, the senior wide receiver, is out there getting his first action of football in the longest time, as a penalty is going to be out there. And it's going to be on King, and another 4th down. So the ball's just going to be pushed back. 5 yards delay of game.
So what a start this is here for Carmel. First they get the 3-and-out. They've got Nathan Rogers back. He looks hype. He looks ready. And let's just add on another 5 yards to that.
As it's going to be a punt now from the 23-yard line. Rogers is back there for the Greyhounds. Short punt. And he's just going to let that one sail out of bounds. So the Greyhounds offense is going to go out there, as a week ago, having 4 touchdowns in total. And just 2 weeks ago against Homestead, 1 offensive touchdown and a saved pick 6 by Christian Peterson. Christian Peterson has been everywhere on the field. defensive touchdown 2 weeks ago and a 4-yard rushing touchdown to really give a spark to the offense just last week.
Yeah, now I don't want to sound redundant here, but this is just the perfect start for Carmel. You know, you get that 3 and out. You know, your defense is a little shaky because of injuries, but you show that you're here. You're not scared of this team, especially on the run. They stopped them very well, and now you've got good field position to start. Just a perfect start for Carmel.
And Colin Johnson is going to be in the backfield to take the first handoff, finds a seam, and is able to break away slightly as he's going to be tackled down at the 41-yard line in King territory.
And Colin Johnson is doing exactly what he did last week very well, just dominating on the ground. And if Carmel can get their run game going, it's going to be very hard to stop.
And Mace is going to come out there on the field now, seeing his first action. Wide receiver, junior, standing at 6'1". If he's able to make an impact throughout this entire season, has not been looked at once. But this is the game for him to shine if he can. Johnson is still going to be in the backfield. We're going to possibly seeing 4 running backs tonight. Johnson is going to be handed the ball once again, fights up the middle, is going to be taken down now at the 37-yard line.
Let's talk about some other playmakers for Carmel. Let's talk about Belite. Last week he had a very long pass touchdown. It was actually the first touchdown for the Greyhounds, and that touchdown really gave Carmel the momentum. And although it was quickly taken by the Christian Brothers Cadets, it was still a very great connection, and it's good to see Colner be able to connect on that deep ball early. Let's see if we can see that again.
And Colner not used to throwing deep balls, but sent Battelle down as Tucker is going to be swallowed up quickly in the backfield, a tackle for loss as King is just forcing the Greyhounds to fight for this drive.
Yeah, and it's almost like King wants Carmel to pass the ball. They're sending a lot of pressure. They're really attacking that line. Let's see what Carmel does here on 3rd and long.
As McLeod is going to be credited for that tackle for loss of 2 now. So a 3rd and 8 for the Greyhounds in King territory. They need to capitalize here if they want to start and have the momentum on their side, playing in front of their home fans. Colner is going to be lined up in shotgun. Tucker in the backfield.
On the left side.
In the pocket, and he's going to be swallowed up as the first person to get to him tonight is going to be Marquise White, the senior linebacker, was able to really fight through the offensive line and swallow up Colner with ease.
And that's an unfortunate break for Carmel because just how I was talking about the deep ball, number 4E was open on your left side of the screen, but the pressure was just too much for Colner. Not the greatest possession for Carmel, but not the worst as well.
And it's going to be Steens back to receive the punt for King, as that's going to be a high punt by Plazchek. And it's going to be a fair catch at the 5-yard line. So the Crusaders are going to have tough field position to start their second drive.
Very true, very true. Let's see if Carmel can pressure them and maybe start with great field possession next drive or possibly even get a safety.
And this is a young quarterback like we highlighted for the Crusaders, and Nate Edwards taking the helm of a young team really led by their 2025 class and Xavier Newsom, who's a two-way player playing that tight end and defensive end role, and he is one of the highly ranked players out of the state of Michigan with a recruiting rating of 90. He's ranked at a 3-star, but he is one of the strongest players to watch tonight, as it's going to be a run to the outside, and the Greyhounds are there, and it's going to be maybe a tackle for loss.
That's what you really want to see here. You really want to make them scared to run the ball because now they're backed up against their line. You really want to force them to throw some passes in between that secondary and force some turnovers. Excuse me.
And this is going to be strong defenses to watch for both sides, as neither offense is able to make an impact early in this game, as we saw tackle for losses on both drives and a sack by King on the Greyhounds. If the Greyhounds defense is able to combat the strong King offense, this game may possibly be a low-scoring game, as it's going to be a breakaway, but Brian is there and credited for the sack, or not the sack, for the tackle, excuse me.
Yeah, Carmel is really putting the pressure on them. They're nearly forcing them to pass. It would not be a smart move to run here, so let's see if King is going to unleash the ball here.
As we are looking for a deep pass, the Greyhounds defense just a week ago felt like a Madden game where the Cadets were able to get anything they wanted over the top with almost 300-plus yards passing. If Greyhounds needed to look at something from that game, it had to be locking down on the wideouts. As Edwards is going to drop back, fakes with the right, rolls out, has space. Marsh is there, and he's going to miss the tackle as Edwards is going to break away slightly and get taken out of bounds at the 19.
See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. That was a good run, but he wasn't able to get the first. That's exactly what Carmel wants. They want them to try to throw the ball. They have a very strong secondary, so if they're able to shut down the run, I see Carmel being able to completely shut out King and keep them at a very low scoring.
And it looks like the punt team may be coming out once again. Excuse me, they're going to be going for it. 4th and 1 now. If King is not able to convert here, it will be great field position for the Greyhounds as Edwards is just looking, and it's going to miss communication.
Oh my gosh.
Is not ready. The ball is out. The ball is out. And it looks like
That might be a Carmel touchdown.
And it's touchdown. A safety.
Oh, wait, it is a safety.
It is a safety. The Greyhounds are on the board first as miscommunication with the center, Trevor DeReed, and Edwards, the quarterback for King. They were not able to communicate on the snap, and just like that, the Greyhounds are able to attack quickly and be on the board first.
This is very ironic because I was just talking over with our pregame reporter about the last time that Carmel was able to get a safety, and ironically, it was Artie Bryant who was able to force that safety last year against North Central.
And Bryant, one of those key players to watch in tonight's matchup, able to wreak havoc anytime he's out there on the field, the leader of tackles for the Greyhounds, and he's one player to watch. Him and Christian Peterson are those two X-factor players for the Greyhounds in this game tonight.
And this is exactly why I vouched against the run for King. You already know Carmel's strong and very good against the run, so you don't want to get your young quarterback backed up in situations like that results in things like that. This is not a good start for King, and now the crowd is on Carmel's side. Everyone's hyped. Carmel is ready to take full momentum here.
And a lot of people were counting the Greyhounds out in this matchup with an out-of-state opponent in King coming out of Michigan. A lot of people are saying that they are looking for revenge, but a young quarterback and a young team in general for the Crusaders. A lot of miscues to start the game. 6:30 with a score of 2-0. The Greyhounds are up defending their home turf and are looking to come back on offense as this is going to be a punt now.
Yeah, and it looks like Christian Peterson may be back to return this one. I don't see Rogers going out there.
And it's going to be Peterson and Tucker who are out there to receive. Excuse me, it's going to be a kickoff. Kickoff from the 20-yard line with the safety. So ball is going to be given over to the Greyhounds as Peterson and Tucker are back there.
Left side.
Looks like there's some miscommunication going on King's side of the ball.
I'm trying to count how many players are out there, and it may be 5. Yeah, there's 11 players. Excuse me, 2, 4, 6, 8.
Yeah, there's 11.
Okay, I had to make sure. I was thinking there could have been 12. You can't play with 12 men out there on the field, but it's going to be a flag that is declined by the Greyhounds. May have been a delay of game once again. There's a few flags already in this game, Dashaun. We've not been seeing the best kind of clock control that you could have at the start of this game.
Yeah, very true. And like I said before the game started, this isn't a team to be laughed at, but it is a young team, and they look very uncoordinated out there. And here comes CP to return this.
As Christian Peterson is going to have the ball now, passes the 45, breaks away at the 50, has a man to be at the 40, at the 30, and goes out at the 20 in King territory.
I mean, I keep saying this, but this is literally the best start you could ask for the Greyhounds. They forced the safety, and now they're at the 20-yard line to start their next offensive drive. What a start to this game for the Greyhounds.
And Peterson is that spark plug for the Greyhounds, as in just 2 weeks ago against the Homestead Spartans, broke away for a 53-yard kickoff return and almost a touchdown there once again. He is that key player to watch any game for the Greyhounds.
Yet let's also not mention he is leading the team in touchdowns because he also had a touchdown in Wildcat formation last week against the Cadets.
Like you said, he is just pretty much a remarkable player to watch, and going to the College of IU, and he's already showing why he's a top recruit in the state of Indiana. as we're going to be seeing Elijah Al-Fayed out on the field for the first time, but there's going to be flags. 2 flags are thrown down. It looks like it's going to be holding on the Greyhounds. As the ball is going to be moved back 10 yards now, so tough field position after a great return by Peterson. You really can't let that return get into the head of the Greyhounds.
Very true, very true. And maybe I'm just a voucher for the modern offensive football, but if it was me, I wouldn't run the ball there. And maybe I just like seeing some action through the pass game, but you've got all the momentum. Why not throw that ball?
And the Crusaders were beat over the top plenty of times just a week ago against St. Xavier, as Xavier was able to just zip it over the middle linebackers and pick up plenty of 20-yard passes. If the Greyhounds look to do that tonight, looking to Rogers or Mace or even Patel, this is a chance for them to combat that, as it's going to be a bubble pass over to Al-Fayed, and he's going to trip up on his own feet and gain possibly 6 yards there.
Now the playbook is really open for Carmel. It's a very long, you got lots of yards to make up for the first down, but it still is second down. You've got 2 or possibly 3 downs if you want to go for it on 4th down, so they can really do anything they want here.
And you are already in field goal position with Josh Plazchek, who has one of the strongest legs in the state of Indiana, and pretty much, I would say he should be up there in consideration for one of the best legs in the nation.
Very true, very true.
As Tucker's going to come in for Al-Fayed. Rogers is to the right of Corner. Corner takes the snap, rolls out right, and is going to escape from the pocket, looks downfield, and it's going to be a short pass. Looking for the call, and it's going to be a catch for the Greyhounds, as Rogers is going to make an impact early and get his first catch of the season.
That's really what you want to see from Rogers. It's a 9-yard catch, a very contested catch too, something to just get his hands warm. Let's see how he impacts this game today.
If he's able to get his hands warm, he will be able to break routes and possibly beat the defender, the cornerback, on him and get into the touchdown. He's looking to score in his first game back.
Yeah, and King is also being pretty brave. If you saw down on the bottom of your screen, they had Rogers in one-on-one coverage, something you have to be worried about because he is one of those special playmakers that'll make you pay if you put him on an island with the corner.
He is a very shifty player to watch. I would say a lot of the players out there for the Greyhounds are able to do anything they want. They have the agility to really work around the defender and get into the end zone, but it's going to be a timeout now as both sides are going to their respective sides of the field. So a score of 2-0 with a safety to give the Greyhounds the lead on their home turf. 5:12 left to play in the first quarter. 3-6 left to go for the Greyhounds. Dashaun, what have you seen so far that has stuck out to you?
So far, it's just Carmel. Now, I know I'm saying this a lot, but even though the score is 2-0, that does not tell you everything. Carmel is dominating this game, and I know it's crazy to say, considering they're not even a touchdown or even a field goal up. But if they continue this score will not stay this way for much long.
And Corner, the young quarterback for the Greyhounds, is able to really calm and composed. We saw last week that he was able to get out of the pocket and break away. We saw him break away for a 46-yard touchdown, and he's getting used to this new helm position as the Greyhounds are already leading in passing yards with 14 and 7 rushing yards and in total 21 total yards, while King on the other side has -5 rushing yards, so strong defense as Corner's going to take the snap over to Tucker, and that's going to be a drop as Tucker knew he had that one and was one-on-one with the cornerback. If he was able to break away, that could have been a quick score for the Greyhounds.
Yeah, an unfortunate drop there, but we are going to see Plazchek come on. He's a very good kicker. Hopefully Carmel can tack on another 3 points.
And Plazchek has not missed a field goal yet. And this is, can't really jinx that. We do not want to jinx that for any Greyhounds fans out there as Plazchek lines up. It's going to be a short field goal here for the Greyhounds. Ball's going to be snapped. Plazchek lines up, and that one's going to be right down the middle. So the Greyhounds are going to take a 5-0 lead with 5:04 left to play in the first quarter.
And although it ended with the field goal, not the exact result you want to see, Carmel looked pretty comfortable. I especially liked what I saw from the passing game. You can't shy away from the run too fast, especially because of the early play we saw from Colin Johnson. So not too much to be worried about for Carmel.
And the ball security has been an issue, though, for the Greyhounds. In total, 5 fumbles on the season, 3 in their first game, 2 in their second. So far, the ball control has been very clear that that's something that the Greyhounds worked on in practice. It's a lot of those drills. If you're able to stay strong, hold it with your gut, and hold the ball with 2 hands and run through the defenders, most likely the ball will not be punched out.
Very true, very true. And although Carmel has struggled with ball control, so has their opponents. There was a lot of turnovers in last game, so much so that there was actually a sequence in last game where the Cadets turned over the ball, and the next play after, Carmel turned the ball right over.
And that may have been one of the most crucial things that happened in that game. The momentum was given over to the Greyhounds, and it felt like everyone was holding their breath right when the ball was recovered and right when the ball was fumbled. It felt like everyone in the stands got up and left. So a lot of heart is in with this Greyhounds team. The fans are here to cheer on everyone who's out there. As also for the Crusaders on the other side, a lot of fans have actually shown up, made that drive from Detroit to come and watch their players tonight.
Very true, very true. Quite a lot of fans for such a drive.
As Plashchek lines up for his kick, and that one is going to be touched back. So it's going to be the Crusaders starting at the 20-yard line on their third drive tonight. As Edwards is going to be the starting quarterback once again, the sophomore quarterback. We are also going to be seeing some strong players ranked in the 2025 class for both teams. For one team in King Crusaders, you're going to be seeing Xavier Newsom, who has been a 3-star recruit, followed by Willie Fletcher, who's also a 3-star recruit. So 2 players who have plenty of D1 offers, already juniors, and are ranked highly in the state of Michigan. As there's going to be a flag on the play, as that's just going to go for 2 yards, but it may be pushed back.
Another interesting thing here is I see number 4, Eol, out there. He's actually listed as a receiver, but it looks like he's playing corner right now.
As that is very shocking to see. He may have worked and is working to play both ways throughout practice this week, something that the Greyhounds have been doing. They put Christian Peterson as wideout just a week ago, as he is actually going to be centered over towards the top of your screen now, number 4, as he may be covering more of that safety cornerback position with Hunter Snow, who is going to be out for this game with a lower body injury.
Very true, and the reason Carmel may be doing this is because their second corner, Jabril Randolph, he's a fantastic player, but he is standing at 5'7", and when you lose a player like Hunter Snow, who's very tall, you want to bring in other players who can compensate for that. So I see why this move makes sense for Carmel here.
As Edwards is going to hand it off now over to Henry Johnson. And this Greyhounds defense has been a stone wall tonight, not allowing any rushing yards, most literally -5 rushing yards for the Crusaders tonight.
Yep, and Carmel is doing a great job to control this Crusaders offense. 2nd and 15, but they're also, and it looks like there's an injury on the field.
That is going to be Henry Johnson, who is down there on the field, the junior running back, holding, it looks to be his left ankle. That's not good to see, as he is a strong force for the Crusaders.
Not something you want to see. You don't want to see your first string running back go down, especially after such a slow start. Praise to him, and I hope he gets well soon.
Absolutely, and just a week ago, the Greyhounds were faced with 6 players being injured, and it looked like they had to reach in the back pocket and pull out anyone who was able to play that game.
Very, very true. Carmel has struggled with lots of injuries this year. We've still got a lot of sideline players. One, for example, is Patrick Garton, going back to the cornerback room issue I was speaking on earlier.
And Patrick Garton did have a lower injury to take him out of this entire season. His senior year is not able to play out there, but it's the size difference in teams as well. As if you're able to see on your screen, the Greyhounds, it feels like they have half the school on their team, is what I would describe it as. For the Crusaders, it feels like just a small handful of players are back on their depth chart, and some of those players are playing two-way positions, so you have to fill in those roles.
Very true. What I've seen from a lot of these out of the state schools is they've got a lot of players playing two ways, so they seem to get a little fatigued as the game goes on.
As just like that, a great tackle for the Greyhounds in Winbush, who was the first one there, and that's going to be pushing now to a 3-18 as This game, it feels like the Greyhounds are in complete control early, and they will most likely hold on to that if they can throughout the rest of the game.
Complete control, and I've been saying this since the first drive. This crowd is really going to start getting hyped if Carmel can keep this momentum.
And the student section are holding up their hands with a 3rd and 18. The Greyhounds need to make sure no balls are going over the top, as it looks to be a pass here for Edwards. Edwards is in shotgun. Takes the snap, and it's actually going to be a run to try and just pick up some yardage, and just like that, it's going to be Daryl Flemster who's going to push down now at the 25. Not able to pick up the first down, it looks like.
What a run, and unfortunately, they're not going to be able to pick up the first down, so it looks like the punt team is coming out.
As 3 drives and 3 punts, this Greyhounds defense has been a stifling force tonight. It's really that motor is running strong for them, and they have not stopped on any levels tonight as they've been at top notch.
Very true, and down at the left side of your screen is Nathan Rogers to return the punt.
As Rogers is back to receive the punt, almost blocked by the Greyhounds. Rogers calls for fair catch at the 45, bubbles it, but is able to retain possession, as that's going to actually advance him just about 1 or 2 yards up the field. No, I could not tell if that was planned. I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
I don't think it was either, Casey.
You know, that could be a sneaky plan. If you throw that one in there, act like you're a fair catch, fumble it, advance it just a few more yards, you know, that might be in the very back of the playbook.
Yeah, a little bit of a Kenny Pickett fake slide maneuver right there.
Kenny Pickett fake slide, we might see that tonight too, you know? Corner's been able to get out of the pocket in the past few games, so if he's able to, he kind of plays like a Kenny Pickett too.
He does.
You know, he's able to get out of the pocket and kind of zip it down the field when he wants to.
Lots of similarities. Here's Rogers in motion.
As Corner's back in the backfield, Johnson is. Johnson gets the snap, breaks the tackle, and is going to be taken down at the 49-yard line. So advancing the ball almost past midfield for the Greyhounds.
And can I just say that Colin Johnson runs the ball very, very strong. Even when he doesn't have big plays, he just looks so explosive and strong out there, and he's just a great runner.
He is. He runs downhill with force, is able to run over defenders, and no fumbles, as he has had 2 fumbles on the season, 1 in the first game, 1 in the second game, and the Greyhounds need to rely on him to hold on to the ball and not cause any changes in this strong momentum with a 5-0 lead. As Coyer is going to go with the option, gives it over to Johnson. Johnson's going to find a seam and gets taken down now in King territory.
And Carmel is really starting to find the momentum now. What a great play, keeping King on their toes, and they're just dicing up this defense. Let's see if they can get in the end zone on this drive.
As the Greyhounds are going to be taking 2 more linemen now for this, so a possible either short pass to Rogers, or it looks like Elijah Al-Fayed is out there at the running back position. If they're able to get either one of their superstar playmakers involved early, like we've seen with Rogers, this game might be a blowout for the Greyhounds.
Very true. Looks like they're bringing on the big set to run the ball. Let's see how this ground game looks.
As a flag is going to be out on the field. It looks to be, cannot tell what it could be. It is against King, so the ball is going to be advancing just a few yards. 12 men on the field.
Yeah, and just as I'm saying, just these little tiny things that you expect from such a young team like the Crusaders. But these tiny penalties will start to add up, and it's giving Carmel a huge advantage right now.
As the Crusaders are going to stack up the box, and another flag is going to be thrown, and it looks to be against the Crusaders once again. So the Greyhounds, their luck is continuing with all these penalties against the Crusaders. They are, feels like, advancing the ball.
It's just making bad worse. You can see the Crusaders are starting to get frustrated. They already got blown out in their first game, and now they travel all the way down to Indiana and are having a rough start.
And a 5-0 lead for the Greyhounds. 1:30 left to play, as it's going to be a play action pass. That one's going to be great defense from the Crusaders, as it was Dante Dooley, the safety, able to get his hand in the passing lane and just break that one up so Rogers could not hold on to it.
The lineman's coming out for the Greyhounds now, maybe looking to pass.
As it feels like the Greyhounds coaching staff has really got the trust in Coyer to throw it down the field. Throughout the first few games, he's not been able to really gain that trust yet, but I think against the Cadets just a week ago, the Greyhounds saw flashes of how a young quarterback is able to throw the ball down the field and make plays on his own.
Very true, very true. I'm very impressed by his poise and just his composure in that pocket.
As Al-Fayed is going to be swallowed up, but advances it 4 yards down the field, and it could have been a possible false start there, as it looked like the Crusaders jumped off sides but jumped back, and it could have been the left guard Trent Fisher, who possibly got up early, but I'm not the referee from where I stand, just from what I've seen.
Very true. And, maybe they're just tired of throwing that flag. Been a lot of penalties early.
There has, but the clock has dipped under 1 minute to play here. 5-0 is the lead in the home turf of the Greyhounds, defending it well as the defense has stepped up against the strong Crusaders team. 3 drives for the Crusaders and 3 punts. As Coyer's looking to go for a deep pass, and it's going to be intercepted. That is a great interception for Chauncey Freeman, the cornerback, able to track that ball well and really get a diving interception. As for the Greyhounds, looking for Brandon Adams in the end zone, Coyer could not put enough on that pass.
And that's not what you want to see. Although it wasn't the best pass, it looked like the receiver almost gave up on the ball, just pretty much throwing them the ball. And they were in field goal range, sort of a flip of momentum here. If King's able to get in the end zone on this drive, not what you want to see for Carmel.
And a momentum shifter. In reality, as you can see, it's more of a mental game for football. If you have the skill and the athleticism to play, you are a fine player, but it's a mental game. Are you able to put in the work? And we saw Adams basically, like you said, give up on that play. And Coyer and Adams need to talk it out on the sideline and just need to work out that route if they want to run that play once again.
True, and Jabril Randolph is returning. We were speaking on him earlier. He's on the bottom of your screen.
And the ball looks like it has come out. The Greyhounds are on top of it. And the Greyhounds have gotten a recovery. The Greyhounds have recovered the football as this defense has stepped up every single time they are out on the field.
You cannot make this up, Casey. This is the second time in a row in Carmel Stadium that there was 2 sequences of turnover to turnover again. This is in these 2 times, these are the only 2 times I've seen this in football at all, at least in the games I've watched.
It is a sight to see as history is being made in Carmel Stadium, most literally, as back-to-back weeks, turnover after turnover, and turnover after turnover once again, as the Greyhounds have 28 seconds left in the first quarter to make something happen and possibly have a momentum shifter, as Tucker's going to take the handoff and just be taken down by the highly recruited Xavier Newsome for the Crusaders.
And now it's time for Carmel to get in the end zone. They've been knocking on the door multiple times, great field position twice, and now they're able to force that turnover, get all that momentum back. If they're able to score here, they can really take the top off of this game.
And they need to take the top off of this game if they do not want the Crusaders to be on their backs. It feels like Carmel has a target on their backs throughout this entire game, as just 2 years ago, Hail Mary to win the game with Jack Hazermack, who was able to throw that and win the game for the Greyhounds. And the King Crusaders have had the target on the Greyhounds' back ever since then.
Very true, very true. I wouldn't say bad blood, but they're definitely out here to get revenge.
It is a revenge game, and a week after next Friday, the Greyhounds are traveling down to basically face their out-of-state rival in Trinity out of Kentucky. So the Greyhounds are traveling down to Kentucky to face their strong rival, Trinity. That's going to be one game to listen to.
Very true, very true. And heading into the second quarter, what do you think Carmel's done well so far?
Heading into the second quarter, I think Carmel has been, their defense is the main reason they are still in this game.
Phenomenal.
If the defense did not get the safety to start earlier, the score would be 3-0. The offense has stepped it up, picked it up slightly, but they've slowed it down. A miscued interception, and And really, it's been the total yards difference. We have not seen a lot of big plays happen, as for the Greyhounds, just under 40 yards in this game, 39 total. And for the Crusaders, 22 total yards. So both teams, they play very similar offenses. So they play just about the same pace. And if they are able to break away either team, it will be a different game. As Corner is going to take the snap, looks to his right, and zips it over to Rogers. Rogers has a chance, but is not fast enough, as that ball is going to be overthrown, over the shoulder catch, but perfectly placed in the end zone.
Just slightly overthrown. The football just does not let Carmel score. You know, they've been in position so many times. So many unfortunate things happen, whether it's a drop ball, a miscommunication, and now just an unfortunate overthrow.
And as the Greyhounds are trotting back out, their ball is going to be at the 24-yard line. So already in field goal position once again. They have a chance to advance to an 8-0 lead if they cannot convert here. But we did see an interception just their last drive, and not something to look for, as Corner is going to roll out to his right, and there's going to be a flag out on the play against the Greyhounds, as it may be a false start.
And one thing I also want to mention, it looks like Colner really likes to throw his receivers open. On the pass he just threw and on the interception, the receiver wasn't really open, but it looks like he was going to make a break on the ball. That is a very good sign for chemistry in the players if he's able to unload that ball before the receiver even breaks on the corner.
And you can see the Greyhounds just called a timeout as the coaches are getting into their players. They need to lock in. They have perfect field position to possibly put the ball into the end zone. You're knocking on the door. All you have to do is knock it over now.
Very, very true. Carmel does need to lock in.
They need to lock in. They need to get over this hurdle that they have put themselves in. Their offense is not able to capitalize on the strong defensive actions that their defense has put in place for their offense.
It's going to be 3rd and 16 here. Carmel really wants to get in on the end zone here. Let's see what they go to.
As Colner is going to be in shotgun with Elijah Al-Fayed, the running back, in the backfield. To his right, he has Brandon Adams and Nate Rogers. Rogers is in motion. Corner takes the snap, and it's going to be a play-action pass. He has Patel wide open in the end zone and overthrown once again, as that's going to be an incomplete pass. So 4th and 16 the Greyhounds are facing, and the field goal unit is trotting out on the field.
Yeah, and although it's unfortunate that Carmel is in this position multiple times and not able to score, what I do like is how the receivers are able to create separation. Once they get connected to their quarterback and they get that connection sort of fused, it's going to be very scary for King.
As Blazczak is in for the field goal kicker. Waits for the snap. And drills that one once again. He has not missed on the season yet. He is perfect. And the Greyhounds advance their lead 8-0, defending their home turf against the King Crusaders.
Now, this is a very weird start, I will say. You know, a safety and then 2 field goals, almost as if we just decided to go for a 2-point conversion on a touchdown. But Carmel will take that, an 8-0 lead, and they get the ball after the half. So I'd say they're in some pretty good shape right now.
I would say the Greyhounds are playing at their own pace. They're controlling this game, making it kind of slowed. But if you can go slow and not make many mistakes, this game is going to be in complete control for the Greyhounds. Now, on the other side of the ball, the Crusaders need to pick up on the mistakes that they have made. We saw a fumble. We've seen some injured players, and it's just miscues on offense. And that's been the big issue. You can't really pass the ball with only 7 passing yards, and the rush game has not been there either, starting off with -5 yards, but to work your way up to 15 in total, you have 22 yards in total. Your offense needs to wake up against the Greyhounds' 39 total yards. So not a lot of offense is being shown, but the defense for both teams has stepped up.
Very true. And although I would say that Carmel's score could be much higher, it's much better than 0.
It is.
King really needs to step up here before this game gets blown out of proportion.
And just 2 weeks ago, the Greyhounds were only able to get 14 points on the board. 8 already there, working their way up to their total points scored they had 28 just a week ago. They have already shown that they are able to actually go down and score. As this is going to be a kickoff from Blazczak, and that one's going to be a touchback. So the Crusaders are going to be able to start now at the 20-yard line. And Dashaun, If the Crusaders cannot get anything going on the run game or pass game, what do you think they're going to look to then?
At that point, if they're not able to get anything in the run and the pass game, at what point do you just say, just air the ball out? I mean, if you're not able to get anything done, wish for a miracle, you know? That's all I could say that they could do.
You're right. I would 100% agree with you. If you can't do anything, just make sure your wide receivers are at least able to hit a go route, run right up the sideline, and just kind of air it out to them. Or if you're able to hit a deep post, possibly kind of cut some cornerbacks off their feet and able to hit your wide out over the linebackers, you have a chance to advance down the field quickly. We're going to be seeing if the Crusaders will take any of our tips tonight and possibly advance as they start at the 20. And it's going to be Edwards. He looks to his right, and that ball is just going to be zipped into the hands for the Crusaders. So they're going to be advancing the ball quickly down the field with a quick, easy pass. As Charlie Marsh is going to be credited for that tackle. As the Greyhounds are going to be looking into his zone defense. Edwards has two men in the backfield with him, hands it off, and he's going to be swallowed up by the big force of Artie Bryant in the backfield quickly, as he's been everywhere tonight for the Greyhounds.
Yeah, this Carmel defense is something special. Not only are they talented, they're flexible, especially in the secondary. You know, they're struggling with injuries, but they've just got so much people they can switch and swap, and just so many different sets that they can run. It's quite phenomenal what Carmel's defense is able to do this year.
And this defense has been the main force that every team is scared to go up against, as last week, allowing 55 points, but the total does not show how much effort was put, as that ball is going to be zipped over, and Christian Peterson had an interception in his hands, and he's going to drop that one, frustrated with himself, as that could have been a turning point. But 3rd and 10 now for the King Crusaders.
Super frustrated Christian Peterson was, because I bet if there's another ball like that, I would take out a loan to bet that he catches that ball.
I would agree, as that one was on his hands. It could have just been falling backwards, and it's really hard to hold on to those if you get a chance to.
And it is a difficult ball, and the reason I say that is just because Christian Peterson is just that special of an athlete. Very frustrating for him, as you could see, but I'm sure he'll make more plays in this game.
He will, as it looks like he's going to be more in that safety position now in this zone defense that the Greyhounds are going to be running. Edwards for the Crusaders is looking to make something happen on offense. As he drops back, Brian is going to be double-teamed, forced into his own man, and it's going to be intercepted by Patel, as he's going to have the turning point for the Greyhounds on defense. Defense has stepped up once again for the Greyhounds.
And Patel, he doesn't even play corner. He is a wide receiver, and that is the second turnover Carmel has faced, and this is, what, the 5th time they've been in great starting position? Let's see if they can finally knock that door down and turn this game over.
And this Greyhounds offense has been put into plenty of great positions from their defense, a fumble recovery to advance them down the field. But the Greyhounds offense needs to capitalize with the immense field position that their defense has set them up with. As Coyer is going to have the ball in the backfield, hands it over to Johnson. Johnson makes a man miss and goes out of bounds at the 31. And it looks like the Greyhounds are relying more on Norval Tucker, Colin Johnson, and their returner, Elijah Al-Fayed. So just 2 weeks, 3 weeks now, including this game. Brady Knudsen was out there for the Greyhounds. He got the wind knocked out of him a week ago, and we have not seen any action from him tonight.
Very unfortunate loss here, but Carmel is very stacked in the running back room, so I think they'll be all right until he comes back.
As it's going to be a quick play, but a flag is going to be out, and it's going to be a false start on the Greyhounds as frustrated coaches down there on the field. So it's now going to be a 2 and 13 for the Greyhounds. 8-0 lead with 10:09 left to play here in the second quarter.
And now this is where you really start to wonder what they're going to go to. They're going to take out a lineman to bring in E, who just made that play on the ball for the interception. Let's see what they go to here.
And E was able to wrap that ball up, and that's kind of anticlimactic that Peterson almost had the interception, and then he was able to just wrap his hands around the ball. It felt like the pass was meant for him.
True.
This corner's going to take the snap now, one-handed, drops back over to Johnson. A screen pass is made for him as he's going to advance it just towards the 32-yard line in Crusaders territory.
And here comes third and about 8 or 9 yards. Let's see what Carmel goes to here. They've got options because they don't necessarily need to get in the end zone, because if they get a field goal here, it'll still be a 2-possession game. But I'm still curious to see what they go to here.
And you're looking to possibly air it out, but if you can set up some screen passes for your playmakers, the Greyhounds are able to break away from that, like we just saw, as Al-Fayed is going to be out there in the running back position. Corner takes the snap, looks to his right, and looks over to Al-Fayed. He has wide open field as he breaks away and is going to be taken down now at the 26.
There is a flag on the field, however.
And a player is down. That's going to be the strong force of Marvel Ingelston, who's one of those top players, a 2-star recruit for the Crusaders. As he's going to be checked up. He may have just hit the ground a little hard, a little shaken up as he's able to walk off cleanly. That's great for the Crusaders, as that's not big harm to their defense. As the ball is actually going to be pushed back all the way to the 42-yard line. Could not tell what happened out there on the field, Dashaun.
I'm not sure what that was to grant a 10-yard penalty, but it must have been something serious.
It must have been. It could have been a holding call. We've seen a few of those tonight, but more on the Crusaders than the Greyhounds. The Greyhounds are not a penalized team throughout their few games that they have played, so it's going to be difference maker here if the Greyhounds are able to pick up 19 yards for the first down. Corner is back there to take the snap, sends it over to Rogers. Rogers breaks the tackle at the 40, but is going to be still swallowed up as another flag is going to be out there. This game is just turning into more of a flag game.
Yeah, we're seeing flag football out here.
We are definitely seeing flag football as we are waiting for the call from the referees. As they walk over to the Crusaders side of the field, waiting if they are wanting to accept or decline this penalty. And it looks like an illegal block on the back by the Greyhounds. So the ball is going to be pushed back once again, as the Greyhounds had great field position set up by an interception, and now they are just in a hole and they are trying to climb out of it.
Yeah, I know we were talking about Josh's leg earlier, but I don't know if he can kick from this far.
I don't think, let's see, what is that? You're at the 48, you got to hit, Dashaun.
I think he can hit that, actually.
Ben Spoles, just a year ago, the varsity kicker, he was on a revenge tour after only missing one and was able to bounce back, as it's just going to be a handoff for the Greyhounds to Johnson. Johnson is able to advance the ball up past the 40, as giving Plaszczak a possible chance, as not tell if he's coming out. I think it's just going to be the punt unit. Plaszczak and the Greyhounds are not in great field goal position, so Plaszczak is just going to be the punter for this next play for the Greyhounds.
And although this is the smart position here, I bet Josh is frustrated because I know that he knows he can make a kick like that.
And as Plaszczak is out there, the Crusaders are out there to receive, and they have not made an impact on offense at all throughout this entire game, as Plaszczak sends that one and has a chance to stay if they're able to touch it. And the Greyhounds are not, and that one's going to just get into the back end zone. If that ball was touched by any Greyhound player inside the 5, we could have seen a possible safety once again.
Dang, that would have been great for Carmel, but, still not the worst. They're up by a possession, and they get the ball after half. So all they got to do is keep King out of the end zone, and they'll be in really good shape heading into the second half.
And both quarterbacks have an interception to their name. The first interception for Coyer, and for Edwards on the other side of the field. He needs to step up in a big way. He's a sophomore quarterback, just as Coyer. So both of these players are going back and forth. As for the Crusaders, they are allowing more passing yards with 22 and 15 rushing yards for a total of 37 yards for them tonight. If they're able to kind of get over the top of the Greyhounds, they have a chance to make the momentum shift to their side. As the snap is going to go over to Edwards, hands it off to, once again, Henry Johnson, and it's going to be Uchenyu Ojota who's going to be credited to be the tackler on that one, assisted by Charlie Marsh.
And Carmel just continues to berate this Kings offense, almost daring them to throw the ball, because they know if they do, they've got a good chance that they're going to steal it from them, get an interception. A lot of risky passes being thrown here. Kings sort of being pushed into a corner, almost into that throw and pray situation. Let's see what they do as the second half is beginning to wrap up.
As it's a 2nd and 9 now, looking to convert here. Greyhounds are looking to rush 4. Edwards in the backfield, zips it all the way over to his strong receiver, and Damon Steins, as he's going to just be thrown out of bounds by the Greyhounds. So the Crusaders are able to advance the ball down the field. Greyhounds are right there with them, but Steins was able to break away from his defender, and really, it was a high pass, but he showed his athleticism out there on the field.
Now this brings up 3rd down for Carmel. If they can get another stop here, they'll be in pretty good shape. I know I've been saying it a lot, but Carmel really has maintained this game very well.
As Edwards has 3 receivers to his right, rolls out to it. Thought about the deep pass, has a chance, and a great catch once again for the Crusaders, but he's going to be called out. It may be a catch. I think it is, but a great catch by Kayvon Matthews, who's able to do a toe tap, and if he really kept his foot in there, he was able to take that one possibly to the house.
That is very true, and it was a great catch. I don't want to undermine that, but let's talk about that pass just over the top of number 11, Drew Cannon. It's a very tight window to throw that ball into. I almost thought it was going to be intercepted, and as soon as I saw it go over the tips of his hands, I thought it was out of bounds, but then he makes the great catch. That is a play you want to see for King to maybe get some energy and momentum back into this game.
And that play may go into the mixtape that they're possibly creating later this year, as Edwards is just going to take it, rolls out, and breaks away from one tackle. But just like that, Randolph is able to stick him and really take him to the ground quickly.
What a tackle there, able to contain that play. You don't want to see a team get 2 explosive plays in a row, because that's when they really start to feel themselves. That's the last thing you want to see here, as you've been able to keep them down for so long. What a tackle by Jabril there.
And no gain, so it's going to be a 2nd and 10 for the Crusaders, looking to convert here, as just the last time they were forced on to 2nd down, we saw a great catch by Kayvon Matthews on the sideline to advance the Crusaders to where they are now. Edwards waiting to call for the ball. Calls for it. Play action pass. Has 2 defenders on him, and just like that, the ball is thrown up into the air. A possible fumble, as the ball is going to be recovered by the Crusaders, but the first person to get to him is a Jota. He's been in the backfield twice already.
And with all due respect, I don't know if he thought he was Patrick Mahomes, but why in the world are you throwing that football right there?
You are 100% right. And that's the issue with these young quarterbacks. It's a mental game, like we've highlighted earlier. You have to be calm and collected in these positions. He kind of possibly thought he could just zip it up there, but that was a dangerous idea for anyone out there, for if you are a Crusaders fan.
Very, very true. And they're lucky to come up with the ball after that. I was almost certain it'd be an interception or a fumble.
As it's going to be a 3rd and 31.
Wow.
That and another flag. So the ball may be pushed back to make this a false start, is what delay of game actually. So ball's going to be just pushed back 5 yards to the 22.
To be a 3rd and 36. I have never seen something like this before. This is truly a Madden game right now.
As this game is one for the history books, Dashaun. We saw the turnover after turnover, and now at 3rd and 36. What would be crazy is if they are able to convert this.
If they convert this, I don't know what I'll say, Casey. I really don't.
I think I will be shocked, and it will be crazy, as Henry Johnson is going to take the ball, and he's going to be tackled down at the 24-yard line, and that's going to be 4th down. So a 4th and 32, as the Greyhounds defense has stepped up every single time they have been out there, as 8-0 lead for the Greyhounds with just 3:47 left to play in the 2nd quarter.
And I can only imagine what Nate Edwards is hearing at that sideline right now. That is just not the play to make.
That is not, as he has not been able to step up, but a high snap, and it's going to be a block pick.
Oh my God.
And JoJo's going to have a touchdown for the Greyhounds. Takes it in, the block kick and the recovery, as he has stepped up throughout this entire game on defense and on special teams.
This is crazy. I was just talking about safeties and block punts. The last time Carmel was able to return a block punt was in 2022 against North Central as well. The last time they were able to record a safety. This is poetic justice, Casey. I don't know what's going on or what's in the air today, but this is just crazy.
This feels like a storybook in the making, as like we've said throughout this entire game, history is going to be made on this field. And the Greyhounds, throughout this entire game, defense has been the key factor. This defense throughout the entire season has stepped up, as Plaszczak is going to send that one straight through the uprights. 15-0 lead for the Greyhounds. Dashaun, this is a remarkable game.
This is more than remarkable. This is remarkable and crazy. This is nuts.
I'm speechless by the Greyhounds has just stepped up. They are taking on what it feels like a rival, but like we've said, this King team losing a top 4 recruit in the nation just last year to UCLA, quarterback who led this team to 2 state championships in a row in 2021 and 2022. So this is a young team. The Greyhounds are a young team, just the Greyhounds talent-wise may be at a higher level than the Crusaders.
Now, I don't want to get cocky too early, but at least in this game, this rivalry is looking like a Grizzlies-Warriors type of rivalry, where one team thinks it's a rivalry and the other team beats up on them every time they get the chance. Now, I don't want to go too far, because the last time we matched up against them, it was a 2-point game. But so far, the Crusaders are being bullied right now.
They are, and Dashaun, with only 3:30 left to play here in the first half, it really needs to be the halftime speech that's in that locker room after these 3 minutes left to play that needs to really enlighten the players for the Crusaders and say, hey, down basically 2 scores. You need 2 touchdowns, and you need really just those 2-point conversions to really excel and accelerate throughout the rest of this game.
Very, very true here. And although they're only down by 2 possessions, they are blessed to only be down by 15 points with all the mishaps that have happened in this game so far.
As Plaszczak for the Greyhounds lines up for the kick, sends it down, and a possible other touchback, but once again, the Cadets are going to be able to elect to receive, as Matthews is going to take it out and get swallowed up by the Greyhounds at the 24. So the strong defense is coming out for the Greyhounds, making play after play after play, it feels like. This defense, it feels like if you were able to rank offense and defense nationally, this defense should be ranked one of the nationally ranked teams.
Very true, and it's not just that. This game has turned into a mental game. Carmel just looks energetic. You can almost feel the energy and the aura, and on the other side of the sideline, King looks dormant. They don't have any energy. They almost look like they just want to go back home.
And it feels like the star players returning has really given the energy back to the offense and the defense for the Greyhounds, with Elijah Al-Fayed and Nate Rogers both returning. But the Greyhounds are able to compete at such a high level without their strong safety in Hunter Snow. He has been out with a lower body injury, as just like that, the Cadets are able to advance to the 31-yard line. But the Greyhounds, if they had Hunter Snow back there, this game may be completely different and may be more dominant than it already is.
Yeah, I don't know what this defense would look like with Hunter Snow out here. This team is just looks like a completely different team. We've got a lot of players returning from injury. Watch out for the Greyhounds when we're back at full health.
And surprisingly, the Greyhounds, if they are back at full health, could have a winning record and could be led by their sophomore quarterback in Anthony Colner. But Edwards is going to take the snap back over, and that one's just going to be off the hands. And play is going to be called dead off the hands of Damon Steins, as just like that, the Cadets are pushing themselves to a 3rd and 4.
And bad goes to worse. If you see his demeanor after that catch, I mean, they all just look defeated. And I mean, I would too. You take a long drive down from Michigan, and this is the absolute worst start you could imagine. Not a good look for King. Let's see if they can turn it around with just a little over 2 minutes left in this second quarter.
15-0 is the lead for the Greyhounds, as it's 3rd and 4 for the Crusaders. Edwards takes the snap, and it's going to be a high pass and off the hands, as just like that, David Calmes is not able to hold on to the ball, and the Greyhounds are going to be able to force another 4th down. This Greyhounds defense is not allowing the Crusaders to advance anywhere into their own territory.
And just 2 drops in a row. I don't want to sound redundant, but I mean, King just is defeated. They don't even look defeated at this point. Unless something crazy happens, I'm not sure how they can pull out this game. The momentum is clearly on the other side. But here's Nathan Rogers to return this kick.
As Rogers is back there for the Greyhounds, and it's a faster punt this time. Rogers is going to be hit, and there's going to be a flag. 2 flags are thrown as the Crusaders thought that they have the ball, and Newsom was the first person back there, the strong junior for the Crusaders, as Rogers is looking, what I would say, distraught out there on the field.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why he didn't fair catch that. But either way, Carmel's still up 15-0. I'm still waiting to see what this flag is. Maybe targeting?
If it was targeting, I don't think Newsom led with the crown of his helmet, but it would still be the ball advancing, possibly past the midline, and the Greyhounds have 2:35 to put up another score before this game goes into halftime. As that's a long advancement for the Greyhounds, all the way up to the, or it may actually be a re-punt.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was.
As it could have been 2 flags canceling out each other. So it could have been possibly holding on one side and something else on the other. But the referees are just going to basically call a redo. So it's going to be another punt once again for the Crusaders. Rogers possibly will fair catch this time and not get what it felt like hit stick to the ground.
He looks fine, though. That's good to see. Let's see what happens here.
As the 2 gunners for the Crusaders are up at the top of your screen. Artie Bryan is going to check in now for the Greyhounds. Greyhounds last time a punt was punt, blocked it and returned it for a touchdown, looking to repeat that if they can. And just like that, the Greyhounds are going to be called for a pretty much offsides, as it was a quick jump for the Greyhounds, and that ball is going to be given 5 yards, and it's going to be a first down now for the Crusaders.
And the Crusaders are happy about that. The Carmel coaches are not. They feel like they've got sort of cheated on that call. The Crusaders are given one last chance in this half to see if they can make something happen.
And with just 2:34 left to go in the first half, Crusaders need to just put some plays together. If they are able to advance with a few run plays down the field, run the clock down just slightly, and get some passing plays, possibly get one in the back of the end zone, this game will look completely different going into halftime.
And Carmel, the D linemen are down there talking to the refs. They feel like they were cheated on this play. And one of my favorite quotes is, "Ball don't lie." So if they were cheated on that play, maybe they go into this possession with a little bit more energy to show the refs that they deserve the ball right now.
And I know you do use that quote quite a lot out there on the basketball court. Anytime I've played against you, you use it. But Edwards is going to take that, and it looks like a flag or a timeout is going to be called, as the referee is talking to the head referee. Some confusion throughout this entire, what it feels like, 10 minutes.
Yeah, this has been a wild game, and ironically, for me personally, has been a wild day. This has just been very interesting.
It has been, as it's been a very wild day, and it looks like it is going to be a flag, so the Crusaders are going to be pushed back to where they were just moments ago.
Like I said, ball don't lie, Casey.
I would agree with you. You know, it's going to be a 1st and 15, though, for the Crusaders. 2:33 left in the first half. 15-0 is the score, as Crusaders are just going to run the same play. Edwards is going to try and break away, and he's going to be tackled out of bounds by Christian Peterson. We've seen Peterson fly throughout this game, almost a possible interception, but he's going to be credited with the pass breakup. And what it feels like, he's not, if you're getting covered by Peterson, you are not going to get the ball.
Yeah.
We've seen that tonight. He's been able to use his athleticism, his jumping ability to stop anything that gets thrown his way.
Yep. And another thing I want to mention is the Crusaders are using their big but young quarterback, Edwards, a lot. He's taking a lot of hits. Not something you really want to see, especially from a young quarterback.
As Edwards is going to zip that one over to the top of your screen, and the Greyhounds are there once again, as they have been flying everywhere, sideline to sideline, not allowing any advancement for the
Yes.
And Drew Cannon coming into this game has made a great impact, lots of tackles. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I saw him with the pass breakup earlier in this game. But just phenomenal defense for Carmel all around, and they're able to force another third down, 3rd and long for the Crusaders here. So possibly another chance at the ball in this half.
So 3rd and 10 with 1:45 left to go here. It's going to be 2 receivers to your right and 2 receivers to the left of Edwards. As he takes the ball, looks to his left, zips it over, and it's going to be a breakup by Randolph, as he's able to get in to the head of Damon Steins and break that pass up.
And JR2 over there giving you that seatbelt emote saying, "You're strapped, buddy, ball don't lie." What a pass breakup by Jabril.
That is a great one right there. Dashaun, you're coming out with some nice stuff tonight. Ball don't lie, seatbelt emote. There's some stuff out here tonight.
Just telling you how it is, Casey.
As Rogers is going to call for fair catch this time, as we've seen him get decked once. And he had the fair catch fumble.
The fake fair catch that I call.
The fake fair catch fumble. As that one, this book, it's a storybook. It is a kind of a storybook tonight, as the Greyhounds have broken away for 15-0 lead at their home turf. We've seen the defense set up. The offense for both sides needs to make an impact.
Very true. For Carmel, it's just been the discipline side of the ball. They're currently winning the penalties battle, because that seems to be what this game is all about today. And also the defensive battle. Let's not undermine that. Shutting out a team in a half is not easy, especially this King team. So great work by Carmel so far.
Tucker's going to take the ball and try and break away from 4 Crusaders, but he's going to be swallowed up. And the ball is going to be now just a 1-yard advancement, so a 2nd and 9 to go for the Greyhounds.
And very interesting here, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like Christian Peterson has taken the field for the offense here. Maybe that famous Christian Peterson Wildcat here has worked pretty well over the past couple of years. Let's see what Carmel has in their playbook.
Wildcat or a jet sweep, just like last week where Peterson was able to get a 4-yard touchdown off the sweep. And really, if you've watched film for the Greyhounds, anytime he comes in, he's going to get the ball.
Very true.
As he's in motion now. And it's going to be a jet sweep once again. The Greyhounds are looking to Peterson. He breaks away and is going to be tackled out of bounds. And it may be a 1st down for the Greyhounds.
I've never noticed that. You are right. Every time Christian Peterson comes in, he gets the ball. I wonder why teams haven't adjusted to that.
I think could slide that information over here and there. If you haven't noticed it yet, if you have not noticed it yet, anytime he's in, he gets the ball.
Yep.
And he's in once again.
All right, you might as well send all 11 at him, because he's probably getting the ball.
As Pollard, we've not seen much action from him tonight either. He is in the game as well. Peterson runs a route, but Rogers has the ball and has a chance as he breaks away at the 35 and is going to be tackled out of bounds at the 33 as he has made an impact. Coming off of injury, he has been the star player for offense.
Very, very true. And it's just like these players, even if they're not making an impact when it comes to the ball or the score, the energy of this Carmel team just looks different. They're just having fun. That's the best way to put it.
And if you are having fun when you're playing football, the game is really in your hands, as this pace has been controlled by the Greyhounds, as Johnson is going to check in for the Greyhounds for Tucker. Corner is going to take the snap, rolls out to his right, has Rogers if he wants him, and just going to take it with his feet and just advance. And it's going to be a late hit. Oh, that was on sync. You and I hit that one.
We're on the same wavelength today, Casey.
Oh, yeah. As the ball is going to be advanced, what I want to say, I believe it's 15 yards down the field.
I'm not sure the exact rule on that. I watch a lot of college, NFL, high school. I kind of get mixed up on the rules a little bit, but we'll see.
You're right. We did see it was a 1-foot catch, actually, by Kayvon Matthews. And that's the difference between high school and college level and the NFL. 1 foot in and 1 foot possibly kind of out of bounds, but you're still able to keep 1 foot in. It's going to be called a catch or a touchdown. But in the NFL, the higher levels, you have to have 2 feet in. So a lot of players like to practice those toe taps, where if they know that they have a chance to be at that higher level, they are already practicing like them.
And I do believe that was a late hit because the ball was advanced pretty far here. Carmel looks like they're going to run the ball.
As Peterson is going to have a pass to corner. They are running a Philly special. And it is the Philly special. special as the Philly special has my man in the Greyhounds home turf. Christian Peterson has an interception for a touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and a passing touchdown. What can he not do?
Oh my gosh, the score is 21-0. 21. Can you do something for me, Carmel? Because this is crazy. I just saw a Philly special in the Carmel football stadium, something I would have never expected to see.
And you can tell that the playbook is wide open tonight as Plaschek knocks that one through the uprights once again. It feels like the Greyhounds are here to just have fun.
Very true.
They are up 22-0. You may be seeing some of the depth chart advance up and play in the game tonight. Wow, if the Greyhounds cannot control the momentum, though, 24 seconds going into halftime, and I believe the Greyhounds actually...
They do have the ball.
They start with the ball. Yeah. I believe that they do start with the ball. But excitement as Christian Peterson gets a passing touchdown. 3 touchdowns total for him. Corner has a receiving touchdown and a passing touchdown. And a rushing.
He
has a rushing touchdown.
Did you say he had an interception?
He does.
No, he doesn't. He dropped the interception. E got the interception. Yeah, almost interception. That would really be filling the stat sheet. I mean, this guy might be stat padding. I mean, this is like some Russell Westbrook activity. I've never seen something like this.
It's just like that clip of Giannis Antetokounmpo throwing the ball off the backboard to get a triple-double in that game to give him 10 rebounds. But this game, historic.
Yep.
And it is one to watch.
Far from what we expected. We both went in here and thought we were going to see a heavily contested, even matchup. This is about as far as you can get from an even matchup.
And I would almost agree with you. I kind of talked to you before we even started, as these two teams play very evenly. The Greyhounds are reaching into their playbook and pulling out plays that we have never seen at the high school level. We saw a Philly special. We've seen a wide receiver come in at cornerback and get an interception.
And a corner come in at receiver and run a jet sweep. I mean, like, this. I like it. I'm all here for it, but this is strange.
This is entertainment. And they are putting on a show for their fans tonight, as the student section may be the most hype that we've seen in years, as it looks like
Carmel is moving up for a kickoff?
I believe there was a flag. There was some miscommunication down there with the referees talking about something after the Greyhounds. Plaschek hit that up through the upright, and Plaschek could possibly, let's see, we did say the last time the Greyhounds had the ball here, they punted. Let's see if he could possibly knock it up through the uprights. That may be a possibility.
It definitely is. He's got a leg.
As he's going to, that looked more like a soccer kick there. That's just going to be a touchback.
Yep.
Dashaun, I don't know. Plaschek, he's got the leg. Mm-hmm. If he can get the height on that in the aim, he's got that. But it looks like he's holding his right hip now as he's walking off the field.
That is not what you want to see. Former soccer player, Josh is.
He is one player to watch, just like Caden Weaver from a year ago, the punter and kicker for the Greyhounds. Played some soccer. Rec soccer is what he did, but he also did some travel soccer as well. And he was a fun guy to play against. Anytime the ball would come to him, he would just kind of boot it, and you knew, it's going up in the air, so you got to be ready for it.
And here comes King in a QB kneel. I don't blame him because I don't want to see anything else go wrong for this team. I kind of feel bad for them at this point. I mean, I don't know what else can go wrong for them.
As it's a 22-0 lead for the Greyhounds as the clock is just going to run out. And the first half, a miracle storybook kind of first half for the Greyhounds. And Dashaun.
With that being said, I think we're going to take a quick commercial break and then send it back down to our halftime reporters. We'll see you after the half.
Greyhounds fans, make some noise.
What a first half by Carmel. Offense took a little bit of time to wake up, but what a way to end it. I think this Carmel team's bouncing back.
And like you said, though, the offense did take a little bit to get going, but what an incredible last 30-second touchdown from the Greyhounds. A little flea flicker, Christian Peterson, Anthony Colner with the reception. What a play from the offense. Like we said, they would have to find a way to get the ball in the end zone, and they found a way to do that to end the half.
Yeah, they needed him last week to get in the end zone, but Christian Peterson can do it all. He can work both sides of the ball, and so far he's been the biggest difference maker to this game and the whole season. But let's talk about this Carmel defense and how big of a difference maker they've been so far.
That's right, Noah. To add on to the incredible Carmel offense, the defense is doing their thing. 4 turnovers caused in only the first half. That matches their season total in 1.5. And on 4 of those turnovers, they scored twice. What an incredible performance from the defense.
Yeah, worth noting. Out of the 4 turnovers, a big variety. They got a fumble, they got a kick 6, they got a safety, and they got a pick. And there's so much variety in this Carmel defense, and they're able to do it all. And they've really just been the driving force for this Carmel team.
Most definitely. The Greyhounds are going into the second half up 22-0. So far they've been playing amazing. Hopefully they can keep it up.
The 6-time Bantam Grand National Champion Marching Greyhounds will begin their competition season on Saturday, September 9th, when they participate in the Brownsburg Invitational. And now, under the direction of drum majors McKenna Moon, Owen Russell, Jake Johnson, Devin Sapper, and The Carmel Marching Greyhounds are under the direction of Michael Pope, Christopher Cranky, Andrew Cook, Kyle Young, and Matthew Black. Again, be sure to get out and see them at their first Invitational of the season, next Saturday, September 9th at the Brownsburg Invitational. Let's once again hear it for the Carmel Marching Greyhounds.
gentlemen, welcome back to Carmel Football Stadium. I'm Dashaun Barnes, returning for your color commentating. Carmel has had a great game early, to say the least, up 22-0, able to force multiple turnovers. Casey, how are you feeling tonight?
You know, four forced turnovers, kind of a mouthful there. I was just down there on the field looking at some of the stats that we are keeping. This game is totally out of the hands of the Crusaders.
Very total out of the hands. Casey, you don't have to lie to me. You weren't down there looking at stats.
I was actually. I was over there looking at that stats down over there.
I know you were getting some popcorn. You don't have to lie, man. It's all right, though. We're a minute shy from the next half. Beautiful game so far for Carmel. Absolutely everything. And me personally, I think I manifested to this. From the first drive, I said that Carmel was having a perfect start, and it continues to be that way.
As, like you said, perfect start, 2 touchdowns and 1 interception for the Greyhounds tonight. And this game, storybook, it could be one for the history books.
This is one for the history books. This is the craziest high school football match I've personally seen. And King, I'm hoping that they can make this game a little bit more interesting.
And it all comes to that halftime speech that happened. If you're able to reel in your guys as the head coach and say, hey, we're playing an out-of-state opponent, but this game still matters. With only 15 seconds left before the second half starts, Greyhounds are up 22-0. And basically have doubled the amount of yards that the Crusaders have.
And you know, even though they seem to be out of this game, I still remember this famous quote from my 4th grade rec soccer coach, who happened to be my father, was that no matter how much points they score in the first half, we can physically possibly score the same amount in the second half. So they're never out of this game.
Like you said, never out of this game. Greyhounds are looking to continue pretty much. They have demolished the Crusaders just in the first half. Crusaders are looking to kind of pick up the slack that they put themselves in, a hole that they dug, and they're not looking to dig it any deeper.
Demolished is an understatement. I'm surprised they didn't forfeit. I don't know if that's possible. Like, with all due respect, this has been total domination for the Greyhounds so far.
It has been, and we've been seeing just the defense. The defense has been the key factor for the Greyhounds. Everyone has stepped up who's out there on the field. Interception, pass breakups, touchdowns. And let's not forget, offense, Philly special was pulled out of nowhere.
That was amazing.
And Christian Peterson, the guy to look at for almost every single play anytime he's out there on the field.
You know, this is funny. Earlier last week when they ran that jet sweep and Christian Peterson was able to get that touchdown, I jokingly said, why don't we just put Christian Peterson at quarterback? And that's exactly what Carmel did.
And him at quarterback, he's 1 for 1, has a touchdown, and
perfect QBR.
Perfect QBR. You know, what can go wrong with that?
I mean, I don't see why not.
But let's give the credit to Anthony Coyer. He did have to break a tackle. So he's using his shiftiness out there at the quarterback position, and we saw him at the wideout position. So, you know, this team for the Greyhounds is looking to continue what feels like out of reach for the Crusaders. 22-0 hole that they put themselves in. Xavier Newsom, who's been the highly recruited player off of this team, just a junior, has not stepped up in this game, has only been in the backfield once, but it was more of just a pressure, not much of a big impact play, and they are relying on him, if you are a Crusader fan, to make an impact early and make it now.
Very, very true. With all jokes aside, this isn't very normal for the Crusaders. I mean, right now their plus minus is under negative 50. This isn't what you normally see from reigning champs. This is not a good start to the season.
And it's really due to their young quarterback. You have a young quarterback, and it's the difference maker for a team. While the Greyhounds are faced with a young quarterback and Anthony Coyer, just on the other side, Nate Edwards, who's the starting quarterback for the Crusaders, is putting himself in a situation where he's making it difficult for his team to come back.
Yeah, and just the duo of these young quarterbacks makes you really honor and appreciate the discipline and composure Coyer is able to give you. Like we saw earlier on the left side of the field when we had that change the game. tip hats off to Anthony Colner, and let's get ready for the second half of this football game.
As the Greyhounds are here to receive for the second half, trying to continue what has been an immense pressure on the Crusaders to make a comeback, but the Greyhounds are here to receive with Tucker and Peterson back there to really just start off the second half. As the Crusaders line up to deliver this kick. And the second half is underway as that ball is going to be over to Peterson. Peterson's at the 20, breaks away now at the 30, runs into his own man, but stays on his feet, is at the 35, at the 40, at the 45, at the 50, and goes out into King territory at the 47 yard, as two kickoff returns from him, putting the Greyhounds in prime field position.
Why are you even kicking anywhere near that vicinity?
You're right.
Kick to any other player.
You had Tucker, who was not as fast as Peterson, but is still able to make an impact when he has the ball in his hand. So if you're having two guys who are scary factors on your special teams, the opposing team is in trouble.
Yeah.
As Corner's going to take the snap, hands it over to Al-Fayed, and Al-Fayed is just going to be taken to the ground, and it looks to be a gain of 3. So a 2nd and 7 is coming up now for the Greyhounds.
Now, this has just been the story of this game. This reminds me, I don't remember exactly what team it was. Carmel beat up on a team earlier in the season last year when I was commentating, and it was just a story of starting field position. Even though they weren't able to move the ball very well, they're just north of 100 total yards. They've still got a 22-0 lead because of the special teams advantage and the defensive advantage, which is really what Carmel's good at.
As Corner's going to take the snap, once again hands it over to Al-Fayed, finds a hole, and is going to be pushed forward and almost to the first down. So a 3 is going to come up now for the Greyhounds. So a 4-yard gain, 3 and 2, So a 5-yard gain for Al-Fayed as he's going to come off the field, and Colin Johnson, the 3rd down back, is going to come in. And Dashaun, where do you think the Greyhounds are if they score one more touchdown, do you think there's going to be any action for Zach Trent, the junior?
I mean, I'd hope so. I thought they were going to put him in last week against the Cadets when the game was already out of reach, but it didn't really matter because they just ran the ball. But, I mean, I'd love to see that. Get some seniors on the sideline who haven't got the chance to play yet.
As a pitch over to Johnson, and it looks like he's going to get the first down for the Greyhounds. So the chains are going to be advancing, and this is really the first drive that the Greyhounds have strung some plays together and are able to get down the field.
And this is what I was talking about earlier with all the players who play two ways. I think that's starting to affect them a little bit. I think Carmel's going to go to the run game and really beat them down and just end this game and take full control.
But don't count the Crusaders out, as just a week ago in their matchup against St. Xavier, their only touchdown and 2-point conversion came in the 3rd quarter. So with 10:25 left to go, a 22-0 lead for the Greyhounds, as they're going to just give the ball off once again to Johnson, and he's going to advance it up to what should be the 33-yard line.
Yeah, and just as you said, Carmel's not totally home safe, but just the whole other side of the stadium, from our side, it just looks completely polarized. Looks like they're at a completely different football game. This is really crazy when it comes to energy levels.
And this may be the most packed the student section has been, and that energy is being thrown onto the players out there on the field, and you can see the difference in the motivation and the energy from both sides, as Carmel feels like they're in complete control and can do anything they want, as the Crusaders have not been lucky in anything, as it's another run play once again as Al-Fayed came into the game and is close to the first down. So a pickup of 7 yards. So it's going to be a 3rd and 1 for the Greyhounds. And really, this has been the 1 week that the Greyhounds are able to convert on their 3rd downs.
Yeah, very true. And another thing I want to mention is how the run game is working effectively. We've got one of the best offensive lines in the state, arguably in the country. That may be a little too far.
That may be a little bit of a stretch.
But we have been able to run the ball well, which is something you want to see out of this Greyhound team.
As once again, corner is going to be under center. A possible other run, as it looks like the Crusaders are going to run commit. And as they do, they are able to stuff Al-Fayed. So a possible field goal, or this could be 4th down territory, and you could go for it here.
You're up 4th and short. You're up 22-0, and they'd only be starting around the 30. Not the worst idea to go for it here.
And it looks like the Greyhounds might be doing that with Johnson out there, going to bring an extra lineman in. So the Greyhounds are looking to.
It looks like Josh is coming in.
This will be his longest field goal tonight. So from the 27, so it's going to be a, what is that? 37 plus, I believe, 5. So 45. 45-yard field goal. As that's going to be a great snap and possibly right down the uprights. And it is, as Plazchek is going to knock that one through 45 yards. And Plazchek, we saw just after, I believe it was a kickoff. He was holding his right hip, his kicking leg, but he made that one look easy.
You know, I didn't want to jinx him, but I knew that kick was going in. I mean, 45 yards, that's too easy for Josh. That's a free throw. I've seen this kid drill 60-yard kicks on his private Snapchat stories. I wasn't worried about that field goal.
You know, I think it's just, you got to play this game smart, though. So you can't go for any long field goals. We've seen crazy things happen.
True.
As Carmel's a 25-0 lead now. You may be seeing some of the backups come into the game, but we saw just a week ago against the Cadets, the Greyhounds really didn't want to risk getting any more players injured with 6 players injured, but it looks like the Greyhounds are just going to trot out there. They have this game in complete control.
Very true, very true. I mean, obviously anything can happen. It's high school football. Crazier things have probably happened. But if we're being realistic here, Carmel has taken full control of this game. I mean, 25-0. Not a score you see often, especially against a game where we went in here and thought it would be even. This is just the complete opposite, as I've said before.
And an even matchup that we did not think about at all. Teeter-totter battle as the Greyhounds just have more weight against the Crusaders as Plazchek lines up for another kickoff. It feels like we've said that a lot tonight, as that's just going to be a touchback. But Plazchek feels like he's been out there maybe some of the most this entire game.
He has been out there a lot, and that's what happens when you're able to get in the end zone and drill a lot of field goals. You know, Carmel's able to get on that scoreboard a lot, and even though they're not getting a lot of touchdowns, slow and steady still wins the race.
And as the stifling force of the Greyhounds defense is out there on the field, 4 forced turnovers. And if you really think about it, if they double it, they could have 8.
I mean, 4 plus 4 is 8.
And, I mean, you had one half. You had 4, so if they're able to combat that and probably get, my guess is they might get 1 more.
1 more?
1 more. So they might have 5 in this game as Edwards takes the snap, and it's going to be a designed run for him as he's able to break away and gets tackled down by Christian Peterson at the 33-yard line.
And this is what I was talking about earlier. You know, they've got a big, strong quarterback. He's 6'4", even though he's a sophomore. That's a big kid. Around 200 pounds. They need to use him more, sort of how the Bills use Josh Allen, like a little pseudo QB design runs, pitch options, whatever it is. They've got to get this ball working on the ground if they want any chance of coming back.
And I would describe Edwards more as a Taylor Heineke, as he's able to get out of the pocket but also kind of throw the ball, but uses his legs a lot, as that might be a holding call on the Crusaders to push this possible 3 yards back. As it is going to be a holding call on the Crusaders. So ball's going to be back 10 yards from the 33. So Crusaders are going to be pushed back into some tough field position, as they've been almost this entire game.
You know, and maybe there's a reason we're not coaches, because earlier in this game you asked me, what do you think the Crusaders are going to do if this game gets out of hand? I thought they were going to air the ball out, but now it looks like they're going more towards the run, which is a little bit surprising to me.
I mean, if you're able to pick up 3 to 4 yards every carry against a strong defense like the Greyhounds, I would use that to your advantage, because the Greyhounds defense, their cornerbacks and their safeties have been able to lock up on any wide receivers, and Edwards is just not able to make the right reads at the right time.
Very true, very true.
As a play action pass is going to be slinged over, and Randolph is going to be the first one there, and right after him, I believe that's Drew Cannon, who's going to be over there as well. So those two are going to be the first to tackle once again. It's going to be Kayvon Matthews credited with the catch, but 2 Greyhounds are there to swallow him up.
And now this brings up 2nd and long. I'm really curious to see what the Crusaders do here. They've been kind of conservative in that playbook. The one time I saw them go deep, they did get that toe tap catch, which was a big play. So I want to see them attack the slight disadvantages that Carmel has, specifically on that left side of the field, where Jabril is a little bit shorter than his matchup, even though he is matching up pretty well tonight.
As they're looking that way, but it's going to be up in the air and an interception for the Greyhounds. Once again, Dominic Shockley is able to take that one into his hands as that was a tipped pass, and that's his second interception of the season.
The second interception for Dominic Shockley. I mean, I don't know at this point. Another drive where Carmel is in beautiful field position. They're not doing anything wrong right now.
They're not. And what did I say? I told you, I believe that there's going to be one more. And just like that, it happened. So, Dashaun, you know, it might be a little bit of a good luck charm tonight for the Greyhounds. You and I, we've been able to pretty much tell what's going to happen next here.
Very, very true. And, you know, that 8 number isn't looking too crazy now. I thought that was crazy before, but if Carmel keeps this up, they've done an amazing job forcing turnovers.
As Johnson is going to just break away for a 6-yard gain to advance the Greyhounds down the field at the 24-yard line. 6:35 left to play here in the third quarter, 25-0. The Greyhounds have relied on their defense, and their offense has kind of just been in great field position and have not able to capitalize with only 121 total yards. Relied on the rushing game with 68 total yards and 53 passing yards. So the Greyhounds need to look more to possibly air it out. We have not seen Mace been targeted once this game, but Johnson, Al-Fayed, and Tucker have all been the running backs as a false start, and offsides.
Offsides, and bad comes to worse. Just more penalties. Just, you don't want to see these things tack onto these players. They look really demoralized. You know, maybe some losses in chemistry here. These 2 very bad games they're going to take in their first 2 games of the season. This is not looking too good for the Crusaders.
And the ball's going to be placed at the 19-yard line for the Greyhounds with a first down. 6 minutes left to play, and no stoppage of time as the Greyhounds are up by 25. A surprising factor, as no one expected this to be the result so far, as just like that, you're going to be seeing one of the top players for the King defense get into the backfield and get a quick a quick tackle for loss in Jaden Wyndham, who's able to fly from his safety position into the backfield and get, really, I think he stopped the run, so it's going to just be a neutral tackle.
And this is another thing I was talking about earlier. I know I keep bringing up this fatigue factor, but if you look at the Carmel sideline, almost every play, especially when it doesn't go the way Carmel wants them to, someone's coming out and someone else is coming back in. You don't see that much from the Crusaders, so it's fresh legs almost every play.
As Colner's going to hand it over to Al-Fayed, who was a leader of rushing yards just a year ago for the Greyhounds as a junior, and is coming back into his first game of play off of injury, and he's going to advance the ball just a few more yards, creeping into the end zone. And anytime the Greyhounds score, the fans go crazy. You and I go crazy. But anytime Crusaders has scored, nothing happens because the Crusaders have not scored once.
We don't know. You don't know what you don't know.
You don't know. You know, I believe that if the Crusaders knock on the door of the end zone, I think that entire fan section that made the drive from Michigan will go crazy.
And you know what I will say? These are some loyal fans. I mean, they're down by a lot, and it doesn't look like any of them have left yet.
And a play-action pass for Coyer as he rolls out over to Pollard, who's able to hold on to it and gets taken down at the 9-yard line. So Greyhounds, Pollard is able to actually hold on to the ball one time, as last week he was forced with a lot of butterfingers and not really able to hold the ball. A few drop passes for him, so it's good. The Greyhounds are finally getting him involved, and it's a little late into the game with 4:22 left to play here in the third quarter.
Yep, and that pass just enough to move the chain. So now I'd be really surprised if Carmel isn't able to get in on the end zone here without running a Philly special.
Has another flag as Coyer is able to use the cadence against the defense of the Crusaders once again. And you can see Xavier Newsome, it's going to be a false start actually on the Greyhounds.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate here. Not the worst. I mean, obviously you're still in field goal range, but you really want to see Carmel get in the end zone here. They need to work on these red zone sets because getting into the end zone has been a struggle for them in this game.
As that really doesn't set them back that far with a 1st and 8 to go. first and 14, to go for the Greyhounds. Corners and shotgun. And another flag, as we've seen, just flag after flag after flag. It feels like the refs are just throwing out anything they see.
I mean, they're throwing the flags a lot. It looks like it's on the Greyhounds this time. In the first half, it was a lot of the Crusaders. Now it's sort of leaking into Carmel.
And you can't let that stop the momentum that the Greyhounds have. Up 25, you are in great field position to make the game completely unreachable for the Cadets, the Crusaders.
Two very different teams there.
You are completely correct. As Corner takes the snap, hands it off once again to Al-Fayed as he gets a spin move and is able to be dragged down to the 2-yard line as that spin move was nasty.
That was a hem, get off me, little boy. He wanted to see that end zone, though. What a play by Al-Fayed.
Hem, get off me, little boy.
Yep.
All right, that's a new one. You're pulling some stuff out tonight, Dashaun.
I'm in my bag tonight.
You are reaching deep into it, just like the Greyhounds have in their playbook. As the last time they were here, a Philly special was called. So it's a possibility they might get the first rushing touchdown for Al-Fayed tonight if he's able to get into the end zone. But it looks like the ball is just going to be advanced 1 yard. So they could hit a quarterback sneak here. You're in fourth down territory no matter what. Mm-hmm. If you can't get it here, you're going to go for it. They're going to add an extra lineman and put Johnson into the game, as he is also going to come out to add that lineman. So the Greyhounds are really relying on that strong offensive line. Like you said, your words should be one of the top in the nation.
Mm-hmm. In my humble opinion.
In your humble opinion, of course. As Rodgers is wide open, and no one is there to cover him, but I formation, they might do a fullback dive. Johnson gets the ball and is going to get hit stick to the ground as he was hit hard.
He was hit very hard. You almost hear a gasp up here near the coaches. Glad to see that he looks okay.
That was a scary hit as they were going to put Elijah Al-Fayed back into the game. The main man who set them up in the position that they are now. 4th and 1 to go for the Greyhounds. You're looking for possibly a QB sneak here. Get your guys in the backfield to push corner over your old lineman. You have Rodgers out to the right.
Me personally, I would throw the ball here.
And they're going to hand it to Pollard. Pollard's going to fight his way in. And waiting for the call from the referees, and a touchdown. Ozzie Pollard gets a fullback dive, his 3rd touchdown of the season. All 3 of those have come from the fullback dive. And he is one big man to try and take down.
This is nuts. This is Carmel football. This is what the fans came here to see. You know, they're all dressed up in their country boots, maybe don't want to be doing too much jumping, but they look excited, they look electric. This has been a great performance from the Greyhounds so far.
And the Greyhounds cannot let this slip from their hands. 2:22 left to play here in the 3rd quarter. 31-0 as Plazchek lines up to possibly make this 32-0. This game is just continues to write its own story.
Very true, very true. And there's Plazchek on for another extra point. He has had pinpoint accuracy so far this season. Just another factor that's helped Carmel take this game over by storm. Everything is going right tonight.
He's playing like a 99 overall down there.
Very, very true. He is a 99 overall. I don't know what his build name is. Can we think of a build name?
The Plazchek build.
The Plazchek build.
You know, think about it.
I don't really like that.
You don't like that? Well, let's see. He's a kicker. Mm-hmm. He's got the leg. He's got the strength. Mm-hmm. He hasn't missed once. I don't know. You think on it.
Okay.
You know?
I'll let you guys know.
All right. Please let the fans know, Dashaun. I would love that.
Will
know. As Plazchek is going to send this one off here just in moments, as the Crusaders need to string something together with a 32-0 hole that they've dug themselves in. Offense for the Crusaders have not been able to make anything click. Through the air or on the ground. Through the air, 51 passing yards, and on the ground, only 22 for a total of 73. Where the Greyhounds in total have 156 yards. It's a game for really the books. as the defense for the Greyhounds has stepped up and the offense is finding their stride only in week 3. That just means both teams are going to get better from here.
Very true. I think this is a very, sorry, I'm forgetting the word, like a very monumental, that's definitely not the right word, but just like a keystone game for Carmel because their offense is finding their legs and their defense is still performing. So I think they're ready to hit a very strong stride and go into the middle of the season very strong.
And a great return there for the Crusaders to put them in great field position. All they have to do now is string a few running plays or passing plays. And really, if you think about it, 4 scores. Something around that. They need 4 or 5 scores. 5 scores to win the game, 4 to tie. I had to do the math in my head there, but it's an interesting game. Anything can happen in the game of football. We've seen 5 takeaways for the Greyhounds. This is just going to advance their numbers. Mm-hmm. They're pad statting, like you said. They have a chance. Anytime they're out there, it feels like it's a turnover.
Very true.
Edwards is going to take it, and it looked like the ball almost came out. And just like that, I feel like anything we say up here could happen for the Greyhounds defense down there.
That is wild. I really thought you were going to call that once again. But once again, what the Crusaders keep doing is running that ball with their quarterback. They continue to do that. And it's working semi-effectively. You know, obviously it's not working too well as they haven't even made a field goal yet. But, I mean, it's better than the past game considered they have 4 turnovers and I believe 2 through the air.
As Edwards is going to take it once again but get walloped by 3 as a trio of Greyhounds are going to get to him quickly. Bryant being one of the first, and Bryant has been everywhere for the Greyhounds. Leader of tackles for the Greyhounds on the defense, and he's one of the strongest players. He's one of the quickest as well down there at the outside linebacker position. He's a strong guy.
Yeah, and for his size, he moves very efficiently. He's a special athlete.
He is. As a 3rd and 9 for the Crusaders, Edwards has 2 receivers to his right and left. Looks to his right and tries to get it out, but almost a pass breakup as Matthews is able to break away past the 50 and gets taken down at the 43 in Greyhounds territory, which feels like the first time all game.
And this is why I keep saying the Crusaders need to throw the ball. Even if it's risky, it's the only level of offense that's allowed them to get explosive plays, which you desperately need in a situation like that. You're pretty much down 32-0 heading into the 4th quarter. Like I said before earlier in the 1st quarter, throw that ball and pray.
And they may be listening to you now, Dashaun. They may have tuned into CHTV to listen to our coaching tips as Edwards is just going to try and power through and advance the ball past the 40-yard line onto the 39 with the clock dipping under just around 20 seconds left to play now. 32-0 is the score in the 3rd quarter. 1 more quarter to play as the Greyhounds have really just held together and have not allowed 1 score at all.
That is a fact. And he drops back to pass.
Edwards with a high pass as once again the Crusaders are able to string a few plays together before the 4th quarter. And like I said, Dashaun, that's all they need to do. If they can get 1 touchdown on the board, the momentum is going to shift towards the Crusaders and the Greyhounds are going to get in the head. They have a great lead. And if they kind of just give off the pedal once, the momentum is just going to shift.
One thing I will say, though, about this Carmel team is they're a very disciplined team. I don't believe they're going to let something like that happen, but as you know, anything can happen. They've got a very strong offensive line, as I've said before. You know how I feel about their offensive line.
I do.
And they've got a ton of great running backs. So just having that advantage to run the ball, keep the clock moving, I think that's going to be what the deciding factor is in keeping the Crusaders completely out of this game.
And if they're able to shut out an opponent tonight, that will show the other teams in the state of Indiana that the Greyhounds are one to mess with. As for the next game, the Greyhounds are traveling to Kentucky to take on their rivals Trinity, as that rivalry has really been back and forth every year. One team may win, one team may lose, so that's another game to listen to. While on the other side, the Crusaders just need to string together a few plays and get on the board.
Yeah, that's the most important thing for them right now. Just get on the board, because just traveling all the way up from Michigan and leaving with 0 points, after suffering that bad loss earlier in the season, that's just very defeating for your players. Not how you want to start the season.
Absolutely. If the Crusaders are able to just take it one play at a time, that's all you need to do, one play after one play. And we've seen that just in this drive so far, as Nate Edwards has really led his team down, and at the 29-yard line, you are possibly in field goal range. As he stands in the pocket, he's going to break away, but again, every single Greyhound is looking his way. It feels like they have 3 to 4 quarterback spies just kind of looking at him anytime he tries to roll out the pocket.
I mean, I would keep a QB spot because outside of the rare times they throw the ball, the only play that seems to be in the Crusaders playbook right now is a QB run. They're doing it a lot. I mean, I understand why. You know, you've thrown multiple interceptions already, and you've got a big, strong quarterback. But at what point do we switch it up a little bit? It's clearly not working.
As it actually is going to be a loss of yard there. So 2nd and 11. Edwards looks all the way over to the other side of the field. And an incomplete pass for him as that one's going to hit the ground first, as he was looking for Steins over there.
Here's a 3rd and 11 on what seems to be the best field position the Crusaders have had all night. Although it won't change much, I guarantee you they really want to get in this end zone right now.
As Edwards has trips right and just one receiver to his left, I feel like they need to add an extra lineman. Carmel has just been able to break through anyone as they're going to just drop everyone in coverage. High pass, but once again a hard hit, as we just see. That is one of the hardest hits that I've seen.
And he was met as soon as he got that ball. He threw that ball into multiple Greyhounds. Almost lucky it wasn't intercepted if he threw that ball off just a little bit. And it looks like the offense is going to stay on the field here for a 4th and 4.
It's 4th down, 4th and 4, just 4 yards to go for the Crusaders. If they are able to pick this up, they have a chance to score. And look at that, the Greyhounds are swallowing up Edwards and takes him to the ground. And the offense for the Greyhounds is coming out once again with 11 minutes left to play. This offense just really needs to run the clock down.
I'm really curious to see what their playbook looks like. I mean, how many times have we seen that play?
A few.
More than a few, Casey.
It takes me back to I believe, was it Ben McAdoo? And no, who was the Giants head coach when all they did was quarterback sneaks?
Yes, and then the QB kneel on 3rd down.
QB kneel on 3rd down. It just feels like they've given up.
Yeah.
That's how I would describe it, as the Greyhounds are able to just roll over, possibly could walk away with a shutout, as the yards do not tell everything that has happened in this game. 156 for the Greyhounds as Tucker's in there and tries to spin away, while 120 for the Crusaders. But we might be seeing some new players check into the game for the Greyhounds, as we've seen throughout the entire night. Both teams are really reaching into their rosters to allow some younger players to get some action.
Yeah.
As Brandon Adams is going to check into the game at the bottom of your screen near the 20-yard line. Rogers is above them, and Mace is out left. Tucker's in the backfield for the Greyhounds. Tucker's going to motion left. Corner takes the snap, thinks about it, option play over to Tucker. Is not able to break away and gets spun to the ground. As you can tell that the Crusaders defense is not wanting to be shut out. They are looking to finally shut out the Greyhounds and force them to punt.
Yeah, they're not just going to let Carmel run down the field here, take the clock out and go home. They still want to score here. Although they're pretty much out of this game, they're not going to act like it, which I love to see. You know, you don't want to just back down and give up. You know, never back down. But truly some hard work here to stay mentally in this game by the Crusaders.
Dashaun, never back down, never what?
Never give up, Casey.
There you go. As the Crusaders are going to use that mentality tonight, as corner's going to roll out over to Rogers, and he's going to be walloped once again, as Dwayne Dickerson is just going to be able to slam him to the ground. So this is the first 3 and out for the Greyhounds. So it's a 4th and 5, but Ploschek and the punting crew is going to come out there as the Crusaders are finally able to get a stop on defense.
Yeah, you've got to be pretty frustrated as the Crusaders. The one stop you get is when there's 9 minutes left. You're down by 30 points. very frustrating that you're finally able to get your defense to finally click and get that stop near the end of this game.
As Plaszczak waits for the punt, high snap, sends that one booming, as that might be one of his deepest punts this year. Crusaders are going to take it in. And just like that, they're going to lose yards as Marsh is going to be the first one to finish that tackle. Marsh is hyped up after that one.
2 flags on the play, though. Let's see what this is.
Dashaun, what are your thoughts on what it could be? My guess is it could be a block in the back, maybe a holding.
To be honest, I didn't see anything. You know, clearly I'm not a ref because a lot of the flags I've seen I was completely dumbfounded on. But they've got a better angle and a better eye than I do.
I mean, we did talk about how you do not have your glasses tonight.
That is very true.
Something that is not good to know about. Dashaun is, I wouldn't say blind up here. You can still see what's going on.
Yeah, slightly visually impaired.
There we go. But it looks like the ball is just going to be pushed back, so there may be some penalties on the Crusaders, as the Crusaders are going to be pushed back now to the 19-yard line. And this is where the offense needs to capitalize on a great 3-and-out by their defense. Edwards takes the ball, and it's just going to be up in the air, and an interception once again for the Greyhounds. Addy Bryant is able to tip that one, and he's able to bring it down. He's been a key factor for the defense tonight and the Greyhounds. Wow, you are speechless.
I am. I truly don't have anything to say right now.
What is that? That is the 6th turnover? 6th or 7th?
Yeah, what was the over-under placed at 8?
8. It was 8. I told you they would get one more. I was not expecting that to happen. Addy Bryant was able to really just hit that one and take it down, as the excitement is still in the air for the Greyhounds.
I mean, what are you thinking over on the other sideline?
I'm just frustrated. I need to look at the plays that I've called tonight, as Tucker's going to take that one past the 10-yard line. If I'm the coach for the Crusaders, I need to study this game, study the plays, study how the defense actually matched up against a strong offense. This is the first game the Greyhounds have really taken that long stride to become a team that we all know them to be.
Very, very true. This is sort of a stepping up game for the Greyhounds. We know they can be this elite team, which is why they had a pretty good ranking going into the season, even though they lost a lot of their players. You know, Winston, Nick Beidel, Desmond Duffy, Will Helt, all these players, these younger guys have stepped up a lot to show that we truly can be the team that they think they are.
As Coyer gets the snap under center, over to Tucker. Tucker tries to spin away, but the strong, stifling defense of the Crusaders is there to really swallow him up and take him down for a no-yard gain. And once again, Coyer's still going to be out there at quarterback. Surprised to not see any Zach Trent action, the junior, standing at 6'1". We've seen him throw some passes down at the sideline, but no action for him in the past 3 weeks. Possibly some action if the Greyhounds score one more touchdown here.
Very, very true here. You know, Carmel's up 32-0. I don't see why not put him in. You know, anything could happen. In the case of emergency where you need him, you want him to be warmed up in any important game.
As Tucker gets the ball and it breaks away to the 2-yard line. So the Greyhounds are knocking on the door of another score. And really, they have not felt any pressure in this game at all.
No.
Their defense has been the factor this entire game. Addy Bryant stepped up. Christian Peterson has stepped up. And it's really the young players as well for the defense have stepped up. We've seen Dominic Shockley, who was credited with 1 interception as well. Charlie Marsh, who is in there as well as the inside linebacker to play on that special teams and really lock down anyone who comes his way. As I formation now for the Greyhounds. Once again, over to Pollard, and he's going to be possibly stuffed, fighting for the end zone. And the Greyhounds think that they're in. And once again, the Greyhounds have scored 38-0. The Greyhounds are able to get anything they want tonight, feeding Ozzie Pollard, and that's going to be his 2nd touchdown.
I don't have anything to say. The only thing I'm wondering now is what the Michigan rankings are going to look like. I mean, I gave them the benefit of the doubt. Their first game they lost, which I believe this game is worse for them. I mean, getting completely shut out is different than losing 44-8.
They're not completely shut out yet.
True.
6:20 left to play. The Greyhounds and Plaszczak line up for the next kick. That one's going to be up through the uprights, like we've said all night. It feels like he's been on lock. He's not missing once. And the Crusaders had a chance with their defense after they got 3 and out, but since then, it's been really, the sand is just falling through their fingers. They're not able to put anything together, while on the other side of the ball, the Greyhounds are building that sand castle.
You know, unfortunate timing. The first interception they got, they immediately fumbled the ball back. Then they get the 3 and out, and they throw another interception. It's just very unfortunate how the timing has been for this game. And I would say that the score doesn't exactly speak for itself, but in this case, it does. This has been pure domination from the Greyhounds tonight.
And you could see the Greyhounds possibly get another turnover here and add to that 7 total if you took the over or the under on that. It's just amazing to see that this Greyhounds defense has 6 forced turnovers, and it feels like they are unstoppable. An unstoppable force. All they have to do now is take this momentum into their next week game against Trinity. They have a 3-day weekend with Labor Day on Monday, so this Greyhounds team is going to get the rest that they need after a 39-0. So far in the lead, things could happen here in the last 6 minutes and 11 seconds of this game.
Very true. Anything could happen. But if the game were to end right now, going back to the Crusaders sideline, I would feel awful, because this is just not what you want to see. And we've even got people from Carmel's student section leaving now because they believe this game is done.
As it's going to be kicked off over to Matthews, takes it in at the 1, makes a move. At the 10 now, breaks away, has open space as he is at the 35, at the 40, has one man to beat in Plaszczak, but it's going to be tracked down once again by the Greyhounds as he's going to be taken down at the 40. He had wide open space, but the Greyhounds were right there. It felt like DK Metcalf and Buda Baker.
There is also a flag on the play.
Once again, another flag, Dashaun. If we were counting how many flags happened in this game, I feel like we would run out of fingers and possibly toes.
Very true, very true. I don't know what we would start counting with, but we'd have to get real creative in here.
You know, you would. We've been drinking so much water up here, too. We might have to use those water bottles.
Or maybe the ounces that each water bottle has, because I think it's enough for them.
You are 100% right. As the ball is actually going to be taken all the way back to the 30-yard line. I mean, that's what? 30 yards.
There was maybe a block at that spot, a legal block at that spot. I don't know, but that's just awful. I mean, you get a big play finally, and it just gets taken back.
And we might be seeing some of the Madden plays come out, as it's just going to be a run now for Henry Johnson, and he's going to take that down past the 40-yard line, almost into Greyhound territory, as the Crusaders are finally putting a few plays together, kind of just get those safe plays. Mm-hmm. Give it to the guys you know who are able to put some things together, and if they're able to put a few plays together here, they have a chance to extend this kind of just a one-play drive. If they're able to extend that, they will get into the end zone.
Another interesting to see here is Zachary Trent down on the sideline getting some throws. I'm not sure if he's been doing that all night. Maybe it's a sign he'll see the field.
And once again, another handoff for the Crusaders. Breaks away from one tackle, but he's going to be swallowed up in a tackle for loss, as it feels like 4 or 5 Greyhounds were in there.
And the Greyhounds do a great job at that. You know, one guy goes in, he isn't able to tackle him, but he's able to slow him down enough for enough Greyhounds to come up and make the tackle.
As both teams are just kind of playing it calm. 3:53 left to play. 39-0 is the lead for the Greyhounds, as they have been in complete control of this game. And once again, it's going to be another handoff for the Crusaders, and he's just going to be swallowed up. It feels like they cannot piece anything together, as Dashaun Henry Johnson is just going to be really handed the rock and can't make anything good out of it.
Yeah, I think this is just a fatigue and moral thing. A mental thing at this point. You know, they look defeated. I've been saying this all night. They just don't look like they want to be out there anymore.
And it's the motivation, too. If you're not motivated to even put a score up on the board, why are you here then? you know, your team is here to play. You made the drive out. At least try and string a few plays together to put something up on the board and come out with your head held high. As that's going to be a deep ball way out of bounds. As once again, it's going to be Gavon Matthews who's the targeted receiver. And great defense from the Greyhounds, as that was just a poorly thrown ball. But a 4th and 12 as the punt team is going to come out. And it's going to be back in the backfield. And this is where you see some of your younger players get some action now.
Yep.
As the Greyhounds there's actually going to be a timeout now from the Greyhounds, as it's really just collect your thoughts. 2:30 left to play. Your score is 39-0 here. The Greyhounds defense has been the key factor tonight, as they have had 6 takeaways against a strong Crusaders team who just two years ago won their state championship 6A division in 2021, and the year after that won it once again. But it was that 2021 season that held them from having a perfect record, 13-1, with their 1 loss coming to the Greyhounds. The Greyhounds just 2 years ago, led by Jack Kazermack and Zach Osborne. Well, Osborne was injured in that game. Kazermack came in and threw a Hail Mary pass to win the game for the Greyhounds. Final score of 40-44, as this game could not really be the same as it was 2 years ago. 39-0. As this rivalry, as we would probably like to call it, and it won't be called that anymore after this performance.
This is not a rivalry at all. I mean, I've never been more proud to be a Greyhound. This was beautiful.
Like you said, never, you know, you can never be wrong with being a Greyhound.
Very true. What a day to be a Greyhound today.
It is. More of what a night.
True.
What a night. As punt team is going to be out there. And we're going to be seeing Nate Edwards, the quarterback, really just send that one. And it's going to roll backwards as the Crusaders are going to pick that one up. And we might be seeing some action from the junior. And Zach Trent is coming out there to play now. This is exciting for any fans out there who are Greyhound fans. Zach Trent, the junior, has not seen any action until now, with the Greyhounds being up 39-0. 2 minutes left to play.
And you see Anthony Colner down there, the starter, hyping him up. I bet you they're close friends in that locker room. What a moment it is for Zach Trent to see the field. Let's see what he can do here.
Trent takes the snap. It's going to be a handoff up to Tucker. Tucker's going to try and break away, but gets brought down quickly, as we are seeing the Crusaders kind of safeties and linebackers step up late in this game. As Zach Trent's just waiting the call from the sideline. Colner is telling him, hey, calm down. This is your time to shine. Really it is. You have 1:30 left to play, score 39-0. And the Greyhounds numbers are not going to tell. The stats are not going to say everything that has happened in this game. 183 total yards for the Greyhounds, 129 for the Crusaders. And it's really just been the defense that has stepped up for the Greyhounds, as Trent takes the snap once again to Tucker. He's going to try and fight through 3 Crusaders, but gets brought to the ground quickly, as Greyhounds are just throwing in some guys who might be playing tomorrow, a JV game tomorrow, and really they're getting the action that they have been dying to see all night.
Very, very true. You know, you love to see those moments where players who don't normally play get to see the field. All the work they put in sometimes goes unnoticed when they don't see the field, so it's special to see him out on the field, even if it doesn't mean much.
It is, as Trent is now in shotgun. Mace to the bottom of your screen. Trent takes the snap, and it's going to be a handoff once again for the Greyhounds, as the ball is not going to come out. And that's the other thing for the Greyhounds, the ball control. 6 takeaways and 0 things that have gone wrong for the Greyhounds, as Zach Trent's just going to have 3 plays in this game to run, and those 3 plays are going to be noticed by the coaches. But the Greyhounds are going to walk away here with a 39-0 victory. Dashaun, what do the Greyhounds walk away with? And on the other side, what do the Crusaders walk away with?
The Crusaders walk away with a very long drive and lots of things to think about on the way home to Michigan. But the Carmel Greyhounds, they really stepped up here. They showed what their offense can be. They showed, as they showed in the first game against Homestead, what their defense is. And they continue to make a lot of adjustments and grow into what can be a very stellar team.
And in other news, in the state of Indiana, Ben Davis just taking on Pike with a 62-0 victory for Ben Davis. Well, the Carmel Greyhounds tonight have defended their home turf 39-0. And with that, I've been Casey Stevens. Alongside me tonight has been my color and good friend Dashaun Barnes, and we are going to be sending it down to a post-game show with Noah Boudouris and Josh Melby.
I gotta go. Win 39-0. What do you think, Josh?
No, I think that was an amazing game. It's clear that they made some adjustments since last week. What do we like so far today?
Well, the defense goes without question to be the star of tonight's game. So many turnovers in so many ways, surpassing the turnover total from the first 2 weeks combined. Far and away the MVP of the game between the entire defense as a whole.
Most definitely. I think it was very impressive that Carmel was able to match their season turnovers caused in the first half, and they got 2 more in the second half. Just incredible game. 6 turnovers total from their defense. Also, I think the offense played incredible in the second half, putting up 39 points, getting the shutout 39-0 win for the Carmel Greyhounds.
Yeah, it's worth noting 39 points on just how many?
185
total yards. 39 points on 185 total yards. That shows the defense is really just getting out there. They're getting turnovers and they're getting great field possession for the offense. And now the offense is starting to find their footing, they're finding their rhythm, and they're waking up for the rest of the season.
And I can't say for sure, but I do think this game may go in the history books for the most points scored with the least amount of yards. What led to so many points being scored with only 185 yards?
It's the turnovers. Again, this defense is coming up in big moments, and they're able to get stops, and they're able to get fantastic field position for this Carmel offense. And that's really been the issue so far for the offense, is making their way all the way down the field. And so when they have such a short field to play with, they played like they played tonight and put up a whole lot of points on the board.
Most definitely, and some notable names from tonight, especially from the offense. Like we said earlier in the pregame show, we thought Colin Johnson was going to have an incredible game outside of his back brace. Tonight, he had a total of 10 carries, 3 first downs, and even a reception. He couldn't get in the end zone, but another name worth noting is Ozzie Pollard, who could get it done for Colin Johnson. There's a lot of split carries in the backfield today. Ozzie Pollard was running it in when they were on the goal line. He had 2 carries for 2 touchdowns and 7 yards. I think it's safe to give it to him in the backfield when you're close.
Like one, like you said, Pollard's just the fridge. He's just pushing when they need him the most. When they got 4th and goal, he's the man to go to. So Carmel's really just figuring out their offense now. Took them a few weeks to get going, get it figured out, but they're really gonna just get it rolling the next few weeks.
Most definitely, and I do think it will be interesting. You think CJ will be the running back 1? I do think it will be interesting. It was only Alf's first game back from injury. I do think they will be splitting carries in the backfield here on out. But Colin just played incredible. Another player worth noting, got to give some love to the special teams. Josh Project with an incredible game. He had 13 points today, 13 of the 39 points, a third of the points from the kicker. Are you kidding me? What an incredible game. And he launched a 45-yard field goal. I thought that was so impressive and just all around a great game from the Greyhounds.
You know, earlier we were talking off camera about who's going to be the non-Christian Peterson MVP. That's really evident tonight, that Peterson really just continues to show up night in and night out, getting a touchdown pass and a turnover. He's really just continuously being that captain that Carmel needs.
And to add on to that touchdown pass from Christian Peterson, I mean, wow, can he do it all? But what a interesting play call on that play specifically, but on a lot of the play calls tonight. I do think the play calling was a lot different from last week, and I think that led to us seeing a whole new Greyhound team. You see, we're giving handoffs to our tight end 1 on the goal line. That's interesting, and that's how you score points. A flea flicker, we score a touchdown, all that. When we're mixing things up, our offense seems to be doing a heck of a lot better, and I think we got to keep that up.
Yeah, way more confidence in this Hounds team as a whole, so I think we'll see that for weeks to come. This is really kind of that tone setter for the rest of the year.
And for next week, you can be expecting the Greyhounds to go into Louisville for their game against Trinity. That is week 4, hoping to continue onto their season and go 3-1. Trinity will be a tough opponent. They play them every single year. Hopefully they can catch a win.
We'll see you back here in week 5 on CHTV. Have a great night.